This is copy.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of South Burbs Hitmen. I'm your host, Joe Mandel, and I'm joined by my White Sox brother-in-arms. I'm talking about Steven Zimmerman and Vinnie Parisi. What's going on, man?
What's up, guy? Is that Foster?
What the hell is Foster doing here?
Hey, wait. You guys got the wrong time, the wrong day, and the wrong network, man.
Oh,
I leave
shit.
town for 2 days and you're like taking over the network? Will you please leave? You're in the wrong show. Damn it.
Sorry.
Oh, man,
Let's
Foster.
kick this shit off.
Bears country. Where is it?
Down with BCP.
You down with BCP?
Down with BCP.
Down with BCP.
You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
Down with BCP?
You down with BCP? I don't know who these guys think they are trying to hijack this show, guys. But if they were doing it correctly, they'd be doing BCP dance with us.
I try that every week, but how did you guys even get into this, man? I go to get on the show and I look and I'm not even there and you guys are there. What the hell?
This perseverance, Foster. Perseverance.
Can't leave Dan at the controls of anything, and I leave town for 2 days. You know, it's not even Monday night, guys. It's Thursday. So instead of talking baseball, we need to talk some damn football.
Yeah, we're not talking baseball tonight, guys. This is a Bears broadcast. I don't know what you're thinking, coming on trying to hijack our show with baseball stuff, but the football season.
Hey, Dan, should we let them stick around and talk some football, or should we throw them off the air?
Yeah. You guys want to talk some football with us?
Please.
And anything to not talk baseball, please.
You know I'm kidding. These guys are awesome. I love them. Let's talk some Bears.
Guys, let's welcome Steve Zimmerman, Joe Mandel, and Vinnie Parisi from the South Burbs Hitmen onto the show tonight from the Barroom Network. We appreciate you guys for coming on. That was fun.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. It's our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
For anybody that missed that opener, you have to go back and make sure that you watch that because that was epic. That was funny.
And for the record, we did not practice that at all. It was just all off the cuff.
Yes, it was.
That was hilarious.
I've been practicing it for 2 hours while I'm driving on 65 home from Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Foster's just in his car smoking a dark, going, "Fuck you, Vinny. F you, Joe, you idiot. Sim, I hate you. Get the hell off my screen."
You guys got back into baseball. He keeps threatening me with that.
Not saying a damn word.
Guys, thanks for coming on the show. Let's welcome in our chat. We got Mr. Mayhem, Damon 1599, Steve S, Doug Van Dorn, Cliff Victoria, Mark Kazak, PJ.
What's up, chat?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, that PJ guy is always everywhere. I'm telling you.
Stephen Z, what's up? Stephen Z saying White Sox suck. Oh, that's Steven Zimmerman. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see this Joe Mandel in there. I don't know about that guy. I don't know.
Some weirdo.
I keep my eye on him.
So all three of you are Sox fans?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I went to a Rockies game the other day, and that was actually way better than most of the Sox games I've watched this season. So maybe not for long.
Okay.
Damn.
Well, it helps that they were playing the Diamondbacks.
Honestly, the defense in that game was way better than I expected for being the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. It was fun to watch.
Arizona Diamondbacks, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not much of a baseball fan, so I
Diamondbacks.
apologize.
No, we didn't, Steve. No, we didn't.
Yeah, Steve says, enjoy the walk off last night.
That's a big no.
Oh,
No,
that
I
was
did not.
unbelievable. I actually saw it.
Well, guys, we're not
I
here
got
to
into
talk.
the room and you're right.
Yeah, let's not
God.
talk baseball. So let's talk Bears.
All right.
Preseason.
That I can get behind.
Game 1. You guys must be so sick and tired talking about the Sox. So let's hear it. Let's just go around the horn. In fact, PJ, you have to kind of interrogate these guys first. So just make it quick.
Make it quick, though.
Yeah, make
All
it quick.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything.
Not again. Nope.
You're right.
Bye.
All right, real quick, guys. Give us a brief story on how you became a Bears fan. Starting with you, Zim, working clockwise.
Sure. So, for anybody who doesn't know out there, doesn't listen to South Burbs Hitmen, probably not many people this season considering the state of the White Sox, but I live in the Denver area. Families from the Chicagoland area. We lived in Des Plaines until I was about 5-ish. Moved out here, been here ever since. But my mom actually opened up a beef joint out here, hot dog and beef joint. So I've still grown up in the culture of, Chicago natives, Chicago sports. Been a diehard Bears fan since since I started paying attention to football. It was, I want to say, either a Christmas Day or a New Year's Eve game against the Packers during the Grossman Orton years before the Super Bowl. So somewhere in that area, probably 04, 05, somewhere in there. But yeah, just growing up watching them, been diehard for probably 7-ish years now, watching all of everything I can get my hands on. Back when I got into the podcast days with all this, it was still the Bears Bros and Bears Barroom and all that kind of stuff. Things that are long since defunct. So I've been around the podcast scene for a while. It's always fun to come on these things and talk Bears.
I grew up. I should say I lived in the Denver area for about 4 years. Longmont. I'm sure you know where that is.
Yep.
So is that beef place you're talking about in Boulder?
No, it's down. If you're familiar with Denver area, you should know Casa Bonita. It's in that neighborhood. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. Yes.
Right down the street from the Broncos Stadium, actually. Yeah.
Okay. I miss living there. Atlanta area sucks.
Yeah, man. Colorado's great if you make like $500,000 a year.
Well, yeah. Exactly. It wasn't that way though years ago.
No, it wasn't. I unfortunately grew up at the wrong time.
Well, we got all that podcast money,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, Joe, I think we know your story about your Bears love, right? Do you want to recap it real quick?
I'll do it quick. Born and raised in Chicagoland area, just grew up loving football.
Vinny, what's your story?
Joe,
I'm just kidding, Joe.
You're more than welcome to, Joe.
Fine.
You're more than welcome to punch him if you want to.
It's all right. Zim went too long in his story. Mine can go 10 seconds.
I'm kidding, Joe. Go ahead.
No.
Born and raised in Chicago area. I was kidding with you.
It's all good. Born and raised Chicagoland area. Just grew up loving football. And as I was hitting the perfect age for football is when the Bears were in the Super Bowl. Devin Hester ran the kickback, and the rest was history. I've been a Bear fan ever since and just love football and fantasy football so much that I do a fantasy football show on the Barroom Network. So that's coming up too. I'll pimp it later.
There you go.
Yeah, please do. Thank God for that 2006 team to keep the next era of fans going, right? Because there's a lot of people we talk to that's the, for us, it's 80 to 85 team, or, Foster and PJ, they go back to the Hallis years in the beginning when they first started the team. But, for the next generation of us, it was like the 85 Bears, and you're seeing all these youngsters that 26 team was what did it for them. Because this is going to be the next era of team, and this team that we have right now is going to be the next generation's favorite team. Justin Fields, blah, blah, blah. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I'm done with my story. Vinny, go ahead.
Yeah, so you speak about that generation of kids who watched the 06 team. You're looking at them. So I played t-ball when I was a kid, and I played baseball all the way through high school. And so baseball was always like that sport I gravitated to the most.
He's lying. He played T-ball all the way through high school.
Yeah, we hit off a tee when I was 18 years old. We were still hitting off tees. I wish that was fun, and I probably would have been an even better hitter. But so I loved baseball, and even as a little kid, we went to crosstown games because I went to the series. I was like 3 or 4 years old. It was the first crosstown series between the White Sox and the Cubs in the regular season, and I was there at 3 years old. And so I fell in love with baseball forever. And when the White Sox won the World Series in 2005, I was like, this is awesome. What else is out there? Feed me more sports. And my dad was like, well, why don't you watch football? And so week 1 came around. We ordered some chicken wings. I'll never forget. I'm probably like 12 years old at the time. We got chicken wings back when KFC had like really good like chicken wings that were sauced. Like they don't really make them like that anymore at KFC. And we got those. I'll never forget. And the Bears were playing Green Bay in week 1, and they killed them like 40-0. Mushin Muhammad had like the touchdown reception to like start the game, and he put the ball in through his legs. Like I'll never forget that. And they ended up killing them. They go 13-3 and make it to the Super Bowl. So I'm like, okay, my life as a Chicago sports fan is going to be awesome. These teams never stopped making it to championships. And then I quickly learned that that was not going to be the case. The Bears have like 2 playoff wins since then. And the White Sox also have 2 playoff wins since then, 2 playoff appearances or 3 playoff appearances since then. I'm not a Blackhawks fan, so I take no credit for the dynasty in the early 2010s. And the Bulls, by the time Jordan left, I was like 2.5. So it's one of those things. Like I just have always loved the Bears. I've kind of gravitated towards football. I think it's a great game. And along with hockey and baseball, those 3 sports have just kind of been like my main, interest outside of my family for as long as I can remember.
Cool.
It's great that 2006 team just propelled another generation of fans.
Yeah, because Rex Grossman kind of sucked, right? It was carried by the defense, and they were just such a legendary team in town.
Now we all get to witness what you guys have lived with for the past however many years. A whole new generation of, hate to say it, guys, but a whole new generation of losers out here.
Sure.
We're not losers. We're lovable losers.
Mark it down now. I'm telling you, we're going to be in the Super Bowl in 2027.
Wow.
Due for a change, guys. We're due for a change.
That far off, dude? I don't have.
Well,
do we have that much time left?
I'm looking at 85, 21 years later, 2006, 21 years later. Feel me?
2027 minus 4.
You can go back even 63 to 85, 22 years.
See?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're narrowing it down. It should actually be 20 years then. It went 22, 21, 20, right?
No,
Math's hard.
Yeah, that's like, okay. That was pretty good. I like that.
Justin Fields MVP this year. Bears Super Bowl win. Off of an 11-6 record. How about that?
Why the hell not?
King Homer.
I'll do the show with you guys naked if that happens.
Don't say that, Ben.
Oh, that's
I wholeheartedly mean it.
Stop, please.
We only see you from the neck up. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be
Just
really.
gotta wear
might
a
not
diaper.
even be wearing pants right now. Who knows?
I'm very much not.
I need to go back on Swifty's show because I wrote before last season, like after the draft. It might have been later in the year. I got to find it. I literally wrote, Swifty, if the Bears get the first pick in the draft and are the worst team in the NFL, I will come on your show live and take a poop. And I reminded of him that after the season ended, and he ignored me for like 2.5 weeks.
Smart man.
I didn't want to do it either, but I told him I would, man. Thank God he didn't. Nothing happened.
I mean,
Creature Coker, welcome to the show.
happened.
That's a new chat member we've seen. That's the first I've seen him of Creature Culture. He's got a lot of good stuff to say here tonight. Swifty's joining us. What's up, buddy? Sorry to interrupt you guys. I just had to interact with chat there for a second.
Yeah, he's making videos.
Thankfully.
Yeah, Foster. Switchy said, yeah, that's not happening there, Foster.
Too late, man. We're into the next season anyway. Once the draft starts, all bets are off.
That's true.
So like you guys haven't, just the amount of years we've gone without a quarterback to finally have Justin Fields in our pocket. For so many people, just feels like, I'll be honest. I was a fan of Rex Grossman when they drafted him because I was like, wow, they finally took a chance on a quarterback. Then he had a couple of good games, got injured, had a couple of good games, got injured. And then he comes out on fire in 2006, and he was actually in talk of being the MVP of the league through like the first 6 games or something. Then the Arizona game happens. Now he has small hands. That affects him. So it gets into, years later, we go through the Cutler era. We thought we had something there. Justin Fields. Now we have Justin Fields. So I'm the homer in me. And PJ, you have added to my homerism with your homerism.
Well, thank you.
Just gets me excited for the possibility. Like, there's always a different quarterback every year that everyone's talking about. Why can't it be Justin Fields?
Yeah. Well, Zim, what do you think of Justin Fields? What's your impressions of Justin Fields so far?
I love the guy. I bought his jersey on draft night. I have
wow, impressive.
I have been in that bandwagon for as long as you could be, as a Bears fan at least. He was the guy I wanted coming out of college. I've loved everything I've seen from him. In college, he was exactly what I thought the Bears needed. And as a reference point, that's great. As a reference point, I had high hopes for Russell Wilson coming out of college. I was a Seattle Seahawks fan simply because of Russell Wilson. So to see Justin Fields come out, he, to me, is the guy that compared most closely to him over all of these years. I mean, you can make a case for a few of these other guys, but just between the size and his ability to make the throw rather than just the running play, that's something that, Cam Newton was the runner, Michael Vick was the runner, Lamar Jackson is the runner, whereas Ben Roethlisberger was the improviser. Russell Wilson was the improviser. The guys who they might run, they might not. They got the speed to take it on you, but they also got the arm to launch it on you.
Right.
And that's something that, as great as Vic was and had the ability to do, he never built his game around that. And that's something that that makes Justin Fields, to me, potentially better than Michael Vick in the end. And that's what I want to see from him. I want to see a guy who's got the ability to do what Michael Vick did to the Vikings on Monday Night Football all those years ago in overtime, but also be able to do what Ben Roethlisberger did in his Super Bowl victories, where he was able to sit in that pocket, avoid the pressure, and actually make deep, accurate throws. I'm all over the guy. I love him.
Real quick follow-up. So when the Bears was talking about possibly trading for Wilson before we drafted Fields, were you on that bandwagon?
Oh, I was so on board for that. Even though it probably would have been the worst idea. He was my favorite player in the league at the time. Since coming to the Broncos, I've lost a little favor with him. He looks good this year, though. He looks good. Let's hide. That's right. He looks good this year.
Yeah. Cool.
And I hope he has success, but not too much success,
I got you. What about you, Joe?
I'm expecting
Fields or no?
I'm in on Fields. I'm expecting a big step forward this year. As I mentioned, I'm the fantasy guy, and I think he not only acts as an MVP candidate in real stats, but also in fantasy stats. This is a guy that uses his legs. He uses his arm. He's got a top-tier receiver that he never had before, and now he's got all these weapons around him. Look for Justin Fields to take that big step forward. I don't think it's like a coincidence that he went 3 for 3 in his first preseason game with 2 touchdowns. You're going to see a lot of those stat lines this year, and you're going to see Justin Fields becoming a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
So what do you think he needs to improve most upon?
I'd say accuracy. He had some good accurate balls last year. He was running for his life, but accuracy outside of the pocket, not forcing throws, because that's what you kind of saw with a little bit last year. And most of all, it's just being smart, knowing when to throw the ball away, calling the right audible at the line of scrimmage. These are all things this team's working on, and you can kind of see they've been putting the work in. I think having a 2 tight end set with 2 really good tight ends in Komet and Tanyan is going to be a big difference maker too.
True. All right, Vinny, give it to me. Yes, yay or nay?
I'm going to be that guy.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I am not out on Justin Fields at all. I'm not even close to being out. But I'm not all the way in yet either. And I was a huge fan after Ohio State. He was brilliant. And he wasn't a running quarterback at Ohio State either.
Right.
He had pocket presence in Big Ten football. And that is a great achievement. Everybody who calls him a running back, they're casuals. And they're casual NFL fans, don't pay attention to college football in any way, shape, or form. He was a pocket passer at Ohio State. And he played well against teams like Clemson. Like, I believe he played Alabama at least once, I'm pretty sure. He was at Georgia. For some reason, they took Jake Fromm over him, and he hit the transfer portal and got the H out of there and went to Ohio State.
Boosters.
but I'm looking at him now, and I'm like, okay, we want him to hit a 4,000-yard season. No Bears quarterback ever has, right? He would have to double his career yard output up to this point in one season if he were to do that. That's tough. Obviously, he's 5-20. Mitch was terrible, but he won games. I'm not sure that Justin Fields will have a positive record this year. I'm leaning on he will. I believe the Bears will have a winning record this year, and that will make me like kind of be fully in on him. But as of right now, I do worry that it's like a lot of highlights, a lot of pretty plays, but the cracks in between haven't been filled yet, and that's what separates, I'm not even going to say Patrick Mahomes. He's in a tier of his own, but Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was elite in year one with a bad offensive line. A bad is an understatement. They were horrible. It was me, Joe, and Foster on the offensive line in Cincinnati. And you know what I mean? And so Justin Herbert, we all thought, like, what are the Chargers doing? Why would they draft him 6th overall? He comes in an emergency start in week 1 that year, and he's brilliant right away. A lot of the times, these guys who have it right away.
Right.
Justin Fields had flashes right away. We need to see a little bit more than flashes, and I think 2023 is going to be big for him. The reason I started off by saying I'm 50-50 is because if I don't see it this year, I am going to kind of be convinced that he's probably not the long-term answer in terms of being a superstar.
All right. Before we get to that super chat by Steve, I got one last follow-up for you, Joe.
Yeah.
What do you like most about Justin Fields? I'm sorry, Joe, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Vinny. Seeing as though he's the negative or the 50-50, I want to hear his positive about Justin.
My positive about Justin is that he seems to be really smart. And I don't think he would disagree with anything I've said about him in the last 5 minutes as far as a critique. He's no fool. He knows that it's kind of now or never if the Bears are gonna want to pick up his 5th-year option and whatnot. I mean, I really can't see them taking a quarterback. Like, if the Panthers are so bad and they're the worst team in the league and the Bears have the number 1 pick and Justin Fields sucked, would they use the Panthers pick on Caleb Williams? I'm not too sure. I think he's still good enough to be a game manager type quarterback. We need him to be a superstar, and I believe he has talent to be a superstar. And so the fact that he's really smart and really talented are positives I'll say about him. Joe brought up he went 3 for 3 this weekend against Tennessee. And people are like, oh, but most of the yards he accumulated were yards after the catch. Well, credit to Justin Fields for seeing a receiver
in the open field
that had the ability to go get the touchdown. Well, guys, the ball left his hand 3 times.
It's literally his job.
Exactly. And it hit a receiver 3 times. And 2 of those times it went its way into the end zone. If Justin Fields' arm leads to 6 points for the Bears more often than it doesn't, I'm in on the guy. And so there's my positive for you. Really, the only negatives are I hope he's consistent. I hope he proves for a full season that he can be an elite quarterback, because that's kind of what the Bears need him to be, as an elite quarterback. That's how you get to the Super Bowl. Look at the Final Four last year. It's freaking outside of Purdy. I mean, Burrow, Trevor Lawrence is always in the mix. Patrick Mahomes played Burrow in the championship, and you got Hurts in Philly playing against the 49ers. And the 49ers are just a wagon. I'm convinced I could play quarterback there and make it to a championship Sunday. So, like, imagine if they hit on Trey Lance, or if Purdy does come in this year and plays well, they could win the Super Bowl. But which I thought for sure they'd go trade for Aaron Rodgers, and they didn't. But that probably was on Rodgers too, just as much. But I'm rooting for Justin Fields. I want him to be that smart, talented player, all in one. And so far in spring training, get the White Sox out of my head. Preseason and training camp so far, I haven't hated what I've seen.
Okay, go ahead, Shorty, with the super chat.
Steve S is saying, what defensive guy for a $2 super chat? Thank you, Steve. What defensive guy hit Fields low today?
Foster.
I do not know. I did not see that. I saw a guy try to take his knee out yesterday, and he hit him. There was today. Oh shit!
It was Kenny Moore.
Okay, that was
Kenny
today.
Moore?
I found Grover Stewart.
There was a lot. Jeez, this concrete, man. They're doing over. So there was they got really chippy today. There was probably about 6 fights, and I will tell you this because I was watching the defense, but I kept leaning over because it was 7-on-7, and the Bears scored 12 touchdowns today on 7-on-7.
Ooh,
Not bad.
ooh,
They
wow.
were like, I think DJ Moore had 3 of them, man, and 2 of them. It was like in 4 plays, I think, 4 or 5 plays. DJ Moore scored 3 touchdowns. You'll see it. You'll see the highlights. Somebody's got it.
Right.
I don't have it as well as I wish, but
Well, I
it's
put
there.
together your highlight reel I put together the clips that you sent me today for later in the show when we hang out in the end after Alex. Because it's like a 3-hour clip. Or a 3-hour. It's a 3-minute clip.
3 hours.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a 3-hour clip.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I know I was there long, but
That's implying that Foster stayed awake for the whole practice.
The funny thing is,
It's random trivia time, guys. How many years did Neil Anderson lead the Bears in rushing? A5, B6, C7, or D8? How many years did Neil Anderson lead the Bears in rushing? A5, B6, C7, D8. I'm going to go last. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say 5.
I'm with you. I'm going to say 5 as well.
that is my answer too. A5.
I got to go with B6. I feel like there's one extra year there.
Okay.
I'm going to go 6 as well.
I mean, I think it's A, but I'm going to guess. I don't want to be the only one, or I want to pick one and give myself a chance to be the only one who's right. I'll go D8.
Ooh.
It's hard. I don't even know if Matt Forte led the Bears in rushing 5 separate times.
I don't know if Neil Anderson was even on the Bears for 8 years.
Very well.
He did not play for another team, Zim.
Very well.
No,
Okay, so
but
he probably only played 8 years then.
You know what happened with him? He played great until, was it his father that killed his mother or something? Somebody shot somebody, and he stopped playing then. I swear to God, if you go back and go through time.
I don't remember
it's
that.
funny.
I think it was
Somebody
What?
shot somebody and he stopped playing. That's what happened to Plaxico Burress too. Problem was somebody was the same person.
Yeah.
well, this was, I think his father shot his girlfriend, not their mom.
Ooh.
Not sure. I don't remember, but I remember it happening and just watching him become a shell of what he was.
What does,
But I just don't remember if that was season 6, 7, 8. Don't know.
Hey, Shorty, what does the chat says about who they're guessing?
So Retro is saying 5, A. PZ is saying A, 5. Demond 1599 is saying 5, A. Mark Kazak saying A. Doug Van Dorden says A. Steve S says A. So
Hair
what's the
Bear
answer?
says A.
Hair Bear says A. Sorry, Hair Bear, I missed you there. What's up, Hair Bear? Thanks for joining us. AC Adam, thanks for joining us. Everybody, man. Ron Warnarski, great to see you guys. So what's the answer, Walt?
Well, I'll let you guys know. None of you got it right.
What? Must be
The
C.
answer is C.
What?
7.
Oh, God.
I was back and forth between C and D because nobody took either of those two.
Oh man, that's
Wow.
surprising. That's surprising.
So he was
Wow.
with the team for 8 years, and he led him in rushing for 7. That's crazy.
So that'd be all but his rookie season. 'Cause he
Wow.
barely played his rookie season. Wasn't he still on the team with Walter Payton his rookie season?
Yeah,
Correct.
he was playing
Yeah.
fullback.
So that would explain that.
The first jersey I ever bought was a Neil Anderson, like real jersey, game jersey. And somebody stole it from me because I wanted to wear it one night. I was trying to look for it. I was like, I can't believe I don't have it anymore. Somebody must have stole it from me because there's no way I would get rid of it.
Cool.
You got
Love
one
it.
more for us, Walt? Since we're doing trivia?
Sure. Let's get one more.
Khalil Mack made an instant impact on the field for the Bears after arriving from the Raiders. What didn't Mack do in his first game in Chicago? A, recover a fumble. B, record a sack. C, score a touchdown. D, lead the team in tackles.
D, lead the team in tackles.
D.
D.
Cosign D.
Big OD.
Had to be Roquan Smith or something.
I was gonna say it wasn't Roquan because Roquan came off the bench in limited snaps because that was his rookie season.
That's right.
Who would have led the team in tackles then?
Akeem Hicks.
Was DJ Williams still on the team at that point?
Good question.
Good question.
I
That's
know
the
it,
real trivia
Eddie
question
Goldman.
here.
well, it would probably as a safety. Probably
Amos?
Amos.
Adrian Amos.
Would be-
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my guess. Probably.
That's a
For
good
leading the team in tackles that game?
Yeah.
We lost Foster. So what do you guys saying here? Everyone says D?
I'm D.
Yeah.
It's D.
What is the chat saying?
Chat's saying AC Adams saying D, Hair Bear saying D, STC saying D, Doug Van Dorn saying D, Mark Kasak saying C, Hair Bear saying F.
I'm just wondering, like, did Khalil Mack lead the Bears in tackles in a game in his tenure? Like, that's just not
Something he would have done.
Yeah, and no disrespect to him. That wasn't his job, really. His job was to
Exactly.
pressure the quarterback. I'm sure there was a game where he led the team in tackles, but I mean, it'd be ridiculous if there wasn't a game. But
Steve S is saying D. Should we get
Guys, do
Foster?
you know-
in this? Foster just popped back in.
Back
Foster,
in.
you have an answer for us here on there?
Yeah.
Khalil Mack made an incident thing of him. Bears after
Khalil Mack made an instant impact on the field for the Bears after arriving from the Raiders. What didn't Mack do in his first game in Chicago? A, recover a fumble. B, record a sack. C, score a touchdown. Or D, lead the team in tackles.
C, score a touchdown.
I think he scored a touchdown. What's the answer, Walt?
Foster, I gave you the answer to the question on the screen. It's D.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
It's,
Yeah, I remember him
Swifty's got
scoring
it
that
here.
touchdown.
I just remember when he scored the
Swifty's
touchdown.
looking him up because he's got an inside track, so he's cheating. I know it.
I was gonna say Swifty had to have Googled that. There's no way he knew that Bryce Callahan led the team in tackles just off the top of his head.
In game 1 of the 2018 season against Green Bay that they
Because I never would have
lost.
guessed that.
No.
Well, and I bet you know, Callahan only had 8 tackles in that game. I'd be guessing 4 of them came on special teams.
Yeah.
Did he play special teams?
I'm almost
Well,
positive he was their gunner after what's his face? Sherrick McManus left.
I definitely looked that up, he said.
But I thought Sherrick was still there at that time, though.
I think you're right, Sam.
Yeah, I think I thought Sherrick was still there.
I think so. We should see now. You got us down the Bears rabbit
Right,
hole of
yeah,
this
right,
guy,
Lane
that
Herd.
guy.
Right.
Sherrick
up,
McManus
Florian?
was
Thanks for
on the
joining
Bears
us.
at that point in time. Wow.
I
Yeah.
loved that game until I hated it.
Right.
Y'all remember the Sherrick McManus game? It might have been that year or the year after, where he popped up against the Vikings because like 3 other corners got hurt. He wound up playing like 10 snaps at the very end of the game and wound up with a pass breakup, an interception, and 3 tackles or something like that. It was
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
And then that made him my Nickelback.
Sherrick and I went to the same high school. Him years later, of course. But yeah, we went to the same high school.
That's
Really?
cool.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's like you guys know who Lester Wiltfong is?
Of course.
Sure.
I went to high school, the same high school as him.
Cool.
Didn't we have him on South Burbs Hitmen once?
Yeah, definitely.
You might
Yeah,
have.
I thought so. Once or twice even, yeah.
Walter and I are being paired up on the new PSF app that's being launched here. It's already launched, but it's basically open chat rooms for every team, and you can create your own chat rooms and stuff too. But Lester Wiltfong and I just found out, guys. Walt, can you pull up that PSF thing? So I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and it's a mobile app called PSF that you can download to your phone, and you can go to the Bears fan chat room, and Lester Wiltfong and I will be doing a live game cast only as fans. We're not going to break down. We're not going to be doing play-by-play or anything like that. But we're just going to be watching the Bears games on our phone as fans in this app, with everybody in chat kind of talking about it. So it's the new app on your phone. It's currently available on Android. Apple, but they're working on Android. It'll be rolled out by the time the season starts, or the first game of the regular season. But check that out, PSF. And if you want to watch Lester Wiltfong and I watch a game together, check us out on that, because it's going to be fun.
That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Pretty excited about it.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know Lester was going to be on with you for sure.
Yeah, I just found out this week. Yeah, I found out like 2 days ago. Yeah.
Lester's awesome, man. You know what? That guy helps everybody. I've seen him on podcasts with like 3 people watching, man, and he's still the same professional every time, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's a good guy.
We had some fun with him on this show. We had a lot of fun. We got him laughing and stuff. That was a good time.
Yeah.
I can't believe that he graduated right before I became a freshman. That's crazy. Same high school.
I know Walt
That's
wanted
why
to
he
pop
graduated
in.
early, because he knew you were coming. DJ said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Walt wanted to pop in and ask you guys a
I'm going to
question.
mute myself because I'm going to pull over here for a bit so I can talk to you guys.
Hop in, Walt.
It, PJ?
Huh?
I did. When did I say this?
Didn't you say that in our private chat there?
No, he said no.
Unless I'm be misreading something.
No.
Yeah,
I
you're
was
a
talking about
Oh,
Super
my
chat.
bad. I misread it. My fault.
PJ's over watching private chat because I never look at it. So thanks for at least making me look at it. Oh, there's 2 chats in there. Thanks.
Okay.
Question off the top of my head. What do you think of the edge position now after Saturday's game? We have would Yannick play this weekend, do you think?
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think he's going to get some practice downs. I don't see him getting any live action this weekend. I don't even know if he's going to get any downs. Why risk the multi-million-dollar man, especially when you only got him locked up for 1 year? I don't think he plays a single down.
In all of preseason?
In all of preseason, I don't think so.
I agree.
That's normally how it goes if a guy doesn't sign by the first preseason game, especially a big money player like Yannick Ngakoue. But I like that he comes from he didn't have Eberflus as a coach, I'm pretty sure, but he did play in the system that Eberflus left behind in Indianapolis. They didn't change after he left. And I think that is a positive on him coming to the Bears, especially since they kind of had room for him. Like, it was kind of like a no-brainer to me. And Zim and I talked about this, and Joe, on one of our South Burbs Hitmen episodes when we got over talking the White Sox for the night. which didn't take long on most episodes. But
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes, and then hey, let's talk about Yannick Ngakoue possibly signing with the Bears. Like that was more interesting, and yeah, I think he'll open up some space. And I'm with Joe. I don't know if I'll be annoyed if he takes a couple snaps in the preseason, but I mean, like why at this point? You're Yannick Ngakoue. You've been a great player in the NFL for a long time, and you've been through some, losing situations. You've been through some winning situations. Okay, come to the Bears, be healthy in week 1, and we'll see what you got.
He was out there today, man.
Yeah.
Yannick was out there today, man. He was doing some things.
What about you, Zim? You got anything to add to that?
I got nothing to add to that. I mean, I think those guys are spot on with it. That's what's to expound on if I agree, right?
Agreed.
Exactly.
Zim wanted Yannick Ngakoue the most out of the three of us, though. We were back.
I will say.
We were naming Houston, Clowney. We're going through all the guys that the Bears could possibly sign, and Zim is like, must have Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah, Zim nailed it.
And we were like, you're right. Let's go.
Thanks, guys. I was about to hurt my shoulder patting myself on the back there, so I appreciate you guys doing it for me.
Oh, I'll always pat your back. Zim, I say it often. Zim is amongst the smartest person. He probably is the smartest person at the Barroom Network. Everything he says comes true.
Ouch.
Okay, all right.
The Barroom Network is doomed.
He actually puts you down, Zim, because that's not too hard to do. I've seen the guys on that network.
That's it. You put the bar on the ground. It's not hard to step over it.
That's funny. Joe is up there too, except for the time he jinxed the White Sox with the Josh Naylor thing.
We won't talk about that.
No, we're not going to go there.
All right, so
It's brought up enough occasionally.
I got to ask this question. I just got to ask this question. So what do you guys feel about Chase Young?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think he was worthy of
That's enough
of the pick.
Sorry, PJ, I will not pull you out for Chase Young comment.
Do you think the Bears should even still go after him?
Yeah, we're done with you. We're done with Chase Young.
I feel like we're missing an inside joke on the podcast. These guys that must have gone back and forth about Chase Young for hours and hours and hours.
We pull PJ all the time for shit.
That's funny. Well, Chase Young, I was kind of in on trading for him at one point, but now that they got Ngakoue and their team is kind of set, we're about to have game 2 of the preseason. I'm sitting here like, do you really want to give up an asset for Chase Young with 2 weeks to go before the NFL season kicks off? Probably not. I don't think he is set up. Like if it were June or mid-July, I'd probably be a little like I was kind of into it. But they got Ngakoue. The defense has some young pieces. It's going to be mostly reliant on the offense this year anyway. We'll see what Fields' next contract looks like. So if you have Chase Young there, that changes things. So like, yeah, I'm feeling good about the group they have. Obviously, there's going to be some cuts made in the coming days and coming week, but I think I would roll with what they have as of right now. They are definitely not the team that finished with the worst record last year.
Before the Ngakoue signing, I would have entertained a Chase Young trade, but in the end, there's a reason a guy like that is available, especially when he's this young. And I know that, there's a little bit of a logjam on the defensive line in Washington, but all the same, I feel like there's baggage that comes along with Chase Young that you didn't get with Yannick Ngakoue, or at the very least that you can cut ties with at the end of a year. Whereas Chase Young, you have to sign him to a long-term deal if you trade for him because you're giving up assets to acquire him. So now that they've got Ngakoue in the house, they've got their free agent signing into Marcus Walker, right? And then they've got 2 surprise young guys in Rasheem Green and Jalen Harris, who have been making noise through all of camp. And then, oh, by the way, Travis Gibson took personal offense to being listed last on the depth chart. Whether that was a coincidence or not, we'll never know. He might not have even known he was last on the depth chart, honestly, because I highly doubt these guys put that much stock into what us fans are reading. They listen to what we say, sure, but they don't care about what we read. So, I mean, he became a man possessed. And, oh, yeah, let's not forget about Dominique Robinson, converted wide receiver, who has just a freakish body when it comes to the defensive end position. We've already got an odd man out here in Chicago. Let's not complicate that even more by adding somebody who you have to sign to a long-term contract.
Well, I kind of agree with what Damon 1599 is saying. It depends on what Washington's asking for, because I think defensive ends is the easiest position you can actually add to a team without needing too much practice time. But again, this depends on what's been asked.
Zim, I do want, do you care to elaborate on the baggage? Are you just talking contract extension or something else?
Contract extension. There's a lot of questions about his want to play football. And it's not necessarily whether or not he wants to be there. It's about his attitude in the locker room, from what I've understood. I have a good buddy who is a Commanders fan, so he and I talk about this kind of stuff when we talk football. And, of the four guys on their D-line, he seems like the one who's the least bought in. And part of that's probably because of the injury as well, right? He did have an injury that sat him out for an entire year. And on a young player, you never know if that's going to be a hindrance or if it's a one-time deal. Some of these guys, they get hurt. They never come back the same way. For Chase Young, I don't know. I think it's too soon to know, but yeah, that's what I mean when I talk the baggage. It's the whole conglomeration of things: the injury, the mindset, and the contract.
I agree. We were talking about while Yannick was signed, we were doing the show, and I had. It was funny because PJ had kind of talked me into the potential of that trade. And I kind of brought up, well, if they did do a trade like that, that would mean that they were really all in this season, because we have a quarterback on a rookie contract. So now is really the time to win. So then breaking news, boom, they get Yannick Ngakoue. And it was kind of like, well, that kind of says the same thing. They went out and signed Yannick, and it kind of says that they believe that they can win now. And that's
Right.
what was most exciting to me about that signing, whether it was a trade for Chase Young or the signing of Ngakoue. That said to me that Poles believes, and in Poles we trust, that there could be something to this season.
Yeah.
If you talk to an NFL executive and you say, sir, what is the most important position in the NFL? 32 out of 32 would say quarterback. If you ask them what's the second most important position in football, I believe more than half, at least 20 of them, would say that pass rusher is the second most important, edge rusher, whatever you want to define the position. Somebody who goes and gets the quarterback. Their primary focus is attacking the other quarterback. There are some GMs that would say a left tackle. Protecting the blind side of the quarterback is the second most important thing. I think it's firmly those three as the most important positions, but you got to have someone that could create pressure on every single down that he plays, every single snap, and Ngakoue's a guy like that. So, I mean, Chase Young would be nice, but I think the Bears are kind of okay right now.
Yeah, he would be more of a luxury piece now, but you, as Damon 1599 said, you can never have too many pass rushers. So pass rushing is always needed.
Within reason.
I just don't. Yeah, right. I just don't see Poles giving up the draft capital. We've got 1,050 guys are going to be cut in the next 3 weeks, and a lot of them are going to be cut on that last day now. So he's looking through that. And how many guys? Wasn't there 3 guys they got to sign next year? Washington, they got some contracts that are due. Montez Sweat might be available. Chase Young might be available. I'm missing somebody. But I'm just saying, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, and there's one other dude on that team. I don't know if it's defensive end or line. They got 3 big contracts. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just don't get why Washington would even be sellers at all. Like, why are you not
right?
Like, the NFC is terrible. I honestly think it's the Eagles and the 49ers. They're in a class of their own in the NFC.
Yep.
And then every other team in the NFC is either mid or bad. It's not like the AFC where like the worst team is probably the Raiders and like they have a lot of great pieces. Like they could, like, they brought in Jimmy G until we realized he was hurt. They kind of thought they'd have a good season. Every team in the AFC is good. Every team in the NFC is bad except 2, or at least mid. like if you're the Commanders, you're in that division. The Eagles are probably going to win it, but you can feast on the Cowboys and the Giants if you find a way to have a good year, and you can be second in that division and be a wild card team in the NFC. It really shouldn't be out of the question. So I was a little surprised to hear that his name was even out there at all.
Their contracts are going to be up, and it looks like they're not going to be able to sign all three of these guys. So I was surprised that they pulled the fifth option off the table, because I thought they'd work them back into shape and then try and trade them before that, this year, while still having an option year for next year, or keeping him and letting one of the other guys go because of the money.
Very true.
So, he's got options. Poles he's gonna make his options, man, because the guy's always looking. That's what I love about him. He's always looking, always.
We got Jack Campbell in the chat, guys. I will become the best linebacker in football, they're saying.
Yeah, in Canadian football, absolutely.
Is that Don Burr?
Jack Campbell, a.k.a. Don Burr.
That's what I was going to say too, man.
Funny.
Steven Z, I found Don Burr.
You're moving up in the Bears world when Don Burr comes to your chat.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. He's in all of the major Bears chats, biggest Bears fan I know.
No shit.
He is. He is in all. I mean, he is in a ton of them, man. I was like, last year, I was kind of like just following him around, and I'd go into even Detroit chats just to see what he'd say. And he'd be like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm doing the same crap you are. Bears against all you mother."
That's funny.
That's what I did, man.
Are we even their biggest rival?
Their biggest rival is a win.
That's true. The playoffs are their biggest rival.
I was going to say their biggest rival is a playoff win.
That's true. Yeah. I'm just thinking, I don't think of Detroit, in baseball, and in hockey, you used to, and in basketball, you used to, but, Chicago and Detroit, football, it's the Packers, right? And then I would put the Vikings second.
Yeah. We have kind of had their number, but not like the Packers.
That's true.
They probably had the Packers number equally, though.
I think they hate Chicago too, just as a city. Like Detroit, it's just like a rivalry with the city, if anything.
That's
all
true.
those Chicago
like St.
people.
Louis versus Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. And they feel like, that's
Green Bay
it.
thinks they are with Chicago, but it's like, no, you're actually just farmland. Nobody cares.
Exactly. Now I do know from going up to Minnesota a bunch, they hate the Packers just as much as we do.
No, everybody hates the Packers.
Yeah, everyone.
Even Broncos fans hate the Packers, all stemming back to the '98 Super Bowl, man.
That's funny. I love that.
I've been talking with some guys in DC, and now they can't stand the Packers because Rodgers is in New York, and it takes away some of their coverage. I guess they're not getting as much just because he's in New York. I'm like, I don't get that, but they're talking about it. I've subbed the 2 DC podcasts because I was talking to them about maybe doing something with us prior to that Washington game, and they're high on their quarterback, but they hate the Packers, man. And I didn't understand it, but he started talking about the East Coast media not giving Washington some of their deserved coverage because of Rodgers. Any way to get somebody to hate the Packers, I'm on board for it.
Absolutely. I mean, Rodgers leaving made the Packers worse and gives the football team a chance to ascend this season. I think the Packers getting worse helps Washington. So, okay. Stephen A. is not going to talk about them as much.
What do you guys think of Leo Packer's question here?
Ooh.
Both Gibson and Robinson got washed away in the run game in 2022, and Yannick and Lewis' weakness is playing the run. What defensive end do we have that sets the edge? Can the interior D-line step up? Go ahead, Zim.
I know. Hey, who was playing defensive tackle for the Bears last year? Can you name one of them? Because I sure as hell can't. Okay.
Muhammad.
Yeah, Al-Qadim Muhammad, he was actually listed as an end, but he was playing inside. You're right. When a guy's played out of position like that, he's probably not going to be very good.
Exactly.
Blackman.
So here's the deal with this Eberflus defense, right? Is it's an inside-out defense, right? Because it's a cover 2 defense, right? It's a 4-3, right? I'm going to keep saying right. Just go with it.
Right.
At any rate, right? It's an inside-out defense. You got your middle linebacker. Middle linebacker's covering the middle of the field, the inside of the field between the numbers, right? Now you've got your interior defensive linemen that are stopping the run. And if they can stop the run, it allows your outside backers to get in and fill the gaps, and allows your edge defenders to seal the edge and either force them outside where your nickel and safety can get to them, or force them inside where your backers can get to them, because your middle linebacker is going to be back in coverage most of the time, right? It's a really simple concept to figure out, but if you don't understand football, I get why you would ask these questions. It's not to say you're not smart. It's just to say that different schemes have different responsibilities. And we've been watching the Bears play a specific scheme that had very different responsibilities for quite a while. So these guys, what they need to do is they need to get strong pressure in the middle. And Andrew Billings is exactly the kind of guy to do that, because he can take up 2 bodies at a time, because he's just such a huge, large individual, right? So he can come in and take up 1-2 guys, seal a gap for sure. Now you've only got 3 more gaps to cover, because one guy's covering up at least a full gap. You get your edge to come. Like I said, he pushes guy either inside or outside if he can seal that edge. If he's coming inside, you've got your outside backers in there. If he goes outside, you got safeties, you got nickels. It's all going to work out, guys. The middle of the defense is where all of this starts and stops. By signing 2 good defensive tackles and developing more with Zach Pickens and Jervon Dexter, this team is going to be much improved against the run. And Yannick Ngakoue can just freaking go after the quarterback's head like Khalil Mack did in his first season with the Bears. And I think we all remember how well that turned out.
Period.
Sorry, that question gets me really wound up, because it's like, oh my God, it's a different scheme altogether, guys. You have to have the players to fit the scheme.
Yeah, I remember when Lovey ran this game, he was had his guys predicated on speed. So when you have a lot of speed guys, even at defensive tackle, you don't have the beef to stop the run. But I think Eberflus runs his scheme a little bit differently, where he's actually has the bigger defensive tackles in there.
But at the same time, it was still a cover 2 scheme, right? And who are the 2 guys who got you most fired up? Well, I'll give it 3. Who are the 3 guys that got you most fired up on that Bears defense, right? Because it wasn't Urlacher, it wasn't Mike Brown. They were just the ones making the plays. The guys who got you fired up, that was Tank Johnson, that was Tommy Harris, and it was, Agunlie was more of an edge player than a tackle. I keep forgetting the guy who came in 95, the rookie.
Oh, Spice Adams?
Yeah, maybe it was Spice. But yeah, there was Mark Anderson.
97.
Yes, 97. Excuse me.
Yes.
But yeah, Mark Anderson, when he came in, it totally changed that defense. Like, it's all about the interior pressure.
Well, Mark Anderson was more of the edge guy, but the guy on the inside was 98. 98, Dustin Dvorak or whatever his name was.
Dvorak,
yeah. He was a guy, clogging up the middle, coming out of Oklahoma too, I believe. So I just think, with this year's defense, we'll see whether what Dexter and Zach Pickens do, because I think they are the key, because if they get the rush up the middle, it'll make the job for the ends a lot easier. And I think that's what we ran into last year. No one was getting a push up the middle.
I loved your rant there, though, Zim. That was awesome.
Thanks. I do that sometimes.
No,
Joe and Vinny have learned just let me roll.
It's true.
Joe had background music for me last season, but
I did.
Listen, there has to be I like when there's different perspectives of different things. If we're all on the same page about everything all the time, it makes the show like just way too homerish, right? So I love the different perspective of things that all you guys are bringing to the show. It's awesome. Like Vinny, about Justin Fields. There's a lot of people that feel the same way, I know one of my buddies here in chat does. He's not sold yet. He's still waiting for that moment. But I think collectively, you're muted, Vinny.
Oh, sorry. I'm salivating at him being good though. That's the thing. Like I want.
Right, we all are. Yeah. That's I'm. If he passes, if he said he wants to pass for, or he thinks he can pass for 4,000 yards this season. If he does that, he will be MVP, just because he's a Chicago Bear.
And he'll probably have, if he has 4,000 passing yards, he'll have anywhere from 800 to 1,200 rushing yards too.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So like 5,000 plus total yards. Like he's absolutely right there with Mahomes and Hurts and Herbert. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have an MVP caliber season. I don't know if he'll win it, but he'll be in the conversation. And then if there's always like one running back or something that slithers his way into the conversation, even though everybody knows he's not going to win it. Wouldn't shock me if it was running back from Florida who was drafted in the first round.
Jahmyr Gibbs?
Bijan Robinson.
Oh, from Texas.
Yeah, Texas. I'm sorry, I said Florida. I meant Texas.
Yeah.
Like I would take him top 5 in fantasy football goon. No.
I'm happy with Roschon Johnson. Less wear and tear on the body, right?
He's not bad, Vinny. I'm just saying he's not a top 5.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that one.
Uh-oh.
You should definitely take him in the top 5, though. You should in our league.
Okay.
Roschon Johnson's brother, by the way, Dorian Johnson, commented on one of our shows recently with Swifty. That was pretty awesome.
Hey,
and
nice.
I actually commented back like, we'd love to have you on the show. Email us and let us know. And he's like, I'll definitely get back to you on that. So that'd be exciting if we can get Dorian Johnson on the show. That'd be awesome.
Well, my brother's coming in the show tonight.
Yeah, Sel's in the show tonight, right?
I'm down for some meatloaf.
Sure. Huh?
I'll have some meatloaf.
You'll have some meatloaf?
I'm looking at the comment.
$2 super chat from Retro. Vin was salivating thinking about Cliff's meatloaf. I would love to see a picture of Cliff's meatloaf, by the way.
I think I saw it the show I was on last time. We showed the picture of that, didn't we?
He hasn't shown a picture of the meatloaf. It's like always something else.
Oh,
yeah.
He's cooking.
Was that the double cheeseburger with the bacon, Joe?
Yeah, maybe.
It might have been that double cheeseburger with the bacon, man. That looked good.
Yeah, I think that was the burger show. We were talking about burgers that night.
Yeah, we have
catfish and spaghetti.
We have a couple of resident chefs there. And Cliff, as well as Walt. We have some chefs in the chat there for real.
Guys, we have Alex Shapiro from NBC Sports waiting in the background. Would you guys like to talk to him a little bit before you guys take off, transition?
You guys do your thing with them. I'll hang out in the background until you're done, and maybe I'll shoot the shit when you're over.
Okay. Yeah, after Alex leaves, we'll do the shoot the shit at the end of the show. But if you guys want to stick around for a few minutes and transition into Alex with us, that'd be awesome. We are excited to have Alex Shapiro on the show.
Yeah,
let's bring him
Come on,
on.
I'm sure Vin or Zim's got a question for him.
I'm sure they do.
You guys, I know you guys can come up with one question each. I would bet.
Fine, I'll ask him a
Look at
question,
Vinny.
and then I'll ask him a
Vinny's
question,
nice.
and then you can take me off. This is your guys' show. I don't want to do anything like that.
Exactly.
Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. All this is packed house. Look at this.
Welcome, Alex.
I love it.
Welcome, Alex.
Yeah, welcome.
Alex, they're forcing me to ask you a question before we head on out. I'm curious. So far, training camp has been impressive, right? We've enjoyed lots of different things from training camp. What is one thing that you've seen from training camp so far with the Bears that might not be quite as talked about? Like, we hear all sorts of things about DJ Moore and Claypool stealing the show in terms of the receiver room. We're going to hear Justin Fields all day long. What's something that's going under the radar that people might not notice until the season starts?
I don't know if it's fair to say it's going under the radar, but certainly not talked as much about Justin Fields and DJ Moore are. You know, we hear about that a lot. The secondary, in my opinion, has been super impressive. Jalen Johnson is Jalen Johnson. He's still super sticky. I think Kyler Gordon is much improved, playing only the nickel. We've seen him lay some big-time thuds. He's got great instincts. He's around the football when the football's near the line of scrimmage, which is exactly what the Bears want. And I think both the rookies have been very good. Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson, each guy has gone up against DJ Moore and beaten him on some reps, which has been extremely tough to do for a lot of people. Obviously, DJ Moore is really, really good. So I think the Bears, if they stay healthy and if the defensive line Yannick Ngakoue can dial up the pressure a little bit, certainly more than they did last season, that can allow that young secondary to thrive. And we might be talking about the Bears having one of the best young secondaries in the league by the end of this season if, Jalen Johnson can increase the picks, if Kyler Gordon does continue his development, and if either Tyreek Stevenson or Terrell Smith plays really well as that second outside corner. That's arguably the unit that has impressed me the most.
Very cool.
Guys, Zim, you got a question?
I just want to say it's awesome to hear that Stevenson is doing so well. For him to come over as part of the Panthers trade, it basically means the Bears got 3 starters for that number 1 overall pick, plus 2 more picks yet to come. That's huge. That's so big. Excuse me. Let me ask you a bit of an off-the-wall question before we take off, before the 3 of us on my line take off for the night. I fell in love with Tyson Bagent in that first game. He looked the part of an NFL quarterback. It looked like the game was the right speed for him. It looked like he knew how to make the decisions. Do we have like a backup quarterback competition happening here with PJ Walker kind of underwhelming and Nathan Peterman being Nathan Peterman?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's a real backup quarterback competition at this point yet, just because PJ Walker is a vet. The Bears love what Nathan Peterman brings to that room. I've spoken to some people who, kind of know what's going on in that quarterback's room, and Nathan Peterman's headiness, his understanding of what defenses do and what the offense needs to do, that they think that's pretty invaluable in terms of just, the mind, like the quarterback mind. So they want to, I think that they see that as a value. Tyson Bagent, to me, is obviously the most intriguing upside talent, just because we know what he did at Shepherd. I mean, record-breaking stuff. The upside to me with Bagent is through the roof, and you kind of know what you're getting on the field with Peterman and PJ Walker. I want to see more of Bagent. I want to see a lot more of Bagent in the second game and in the third game, and then maybe let's talk. But I do agree with your assessment. Seeing PJ Walker, again, to me, I'll use your word, it's been underwhelming. I don't, if Justin Fields goes down, the Bears are in trouble, right? And I don't think that changes. I don't think that changes if Nathan Peterman is the guy, if Tyson Bagent is the guy, or if PJ Walker is the guy. In my opinion, from what I've seen, neither or none of those 3 quarterbacks have really been noticeably way better than the other 2. Tyson Bagent, he will get out of the pocket and he'll make some really athletic plays, some really nice throws that make you go, oh yeah, okay, that's why the Bears are taking a shot on this guy. But then, he'll throw a bad interception too. We've seen the mistakes. And so again, I don't think the Bears are at a point yet where that's a real competition, to be honest. But let's see. I mean, there's still 2 preseason games to go. If Bagent just lights it up, and is lights out in those games, maybe different. But right now, after 1 preseason game, I'm just not ready to go there yet.
Totally fair. I'm rooting for the guy.
Me too.
Heck
Joe?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll ask one quick one and then we'll get out of here. But Alex, I got to ask, the Bears made a little bit of news before the preseason with a little bit of conversation about the logo on my hat here. This is the new primary logo for the Chicago Bears. And the news kind of swept away and there hasn't been much talk about it. So I'm curious if there's been any talk about exactly what that means. Are we going to see this on a helmet? Are we going to see this on the 50-yard line? Has there been any talk about what's happening with that?
So my understanding is that they did that for brands, for broadcast partners. So when you see the bug, the score bug, instead of putting the C, you might see the Bears logo.
Okay.
Could we see it at the 50-yard line? maybe. I kind of doubt it. I would be floored if they put it on the helmet. Like, to me,
I'd love it.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure a lot of fans would love it. I don't think there's any chance that C is coming off the helmet.
I don't either.
I think it was, a lot of people have made a lot of this logo change.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I said, my understanding is it's like a small tweak for brands, for licensing partners, for whatever, what have you, to say, hey, use this head, again, in certain branding opportunities. I wouldn't expect huge changes like within the Bears organization.
All right, yeah, I come from the advertising world, so it's like a style guide. Basically, it's like,
right,
you're going to use this on a McDonald's commercial. You're going to use this, in the newspaper. So I totally get what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. Appreciate the quick answer.
Sure, of course.
I love
BCP,
it, man.
Guys, thank you.
Dude, thanks for coming on tonight and hanging out with us in the beginning of the show. You guys are welcome to hang around and stick with us after Alex leaves the show and for Shoot the Shit, and we can hang out some more. Swifty's going to join us, and we'll talk about Foster's day at training camp with the joint practice today with the Colts.
Yeah, thank you, Vinny, Zim, and Joe. Appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
It's fun, guys.
Appreciate you. We'll see you in a bit.
See you guys. Yep, you know it.
Thanks, guys. All three of you guys, man. Thanks.
Look how professionally that was done. I'm proud of us.
That was great. That was very proud.
First off,
wonderful handoff.
Thank you. Before we get to the super chat from Retro, Alex, I want to first off say it's nice to meet you, and thank you for agreeing to come on the show. We're big fans of you. I love the Under Center podcast. I know that you've done some other stuff on NBC Sports with podcasts and stuff. So big fan of yours. And my first question to you is, and I think that I know this already, but you are a fan of the Bears, right? You're not just working for NBC and not a fan, right?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure meeting you too, Shorty. I know this was a long time coming. I'm glad we finally made it happen. Those were really kind words, and thanks for having me. So it's interesting. Yes, I grew up a Bears fan. So my father had season tickets. To me, football was my favorite sport. Like, I grew up rooting for the White Sox. I grew up rooting for the Bulls, Blackhawks, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, it was always the Bears. Like I'll watch the White Sox whenever. But I'm not going to watch like the Braves play the Marlins. You know what I mean? I don't love baseball to that degree that I'm going to watch two random teams. But football for me, it's like if the Chargers and Jaguars are playing or whoever, like, yeah, I'm in. I'm down to watch that. So football has always been my favorite sport. And that's why I've kind of gravitated towards this. But I will say, working in the media, so I've been doing sports media for nearly a decade. It kind of changes your relationship with the teams as a fan.
Right.
Where I try to be objective as possible, and I don't want my fandom to bleed into that, right? I don't want to be looking at the team with rose-colored glasses because of my fandom. I don't want to be looking at the team negatively because of my fandom. I try to be as objective as possible. And then when you're working in the deadline oriented, the crunch of the newsroom, when everything is happening so quickly, it's almost like you don't have time to have emotions. So I remember, but before I was a beat writer, I was a video editor for NBC Sports Chicago. And I was working during the wild card playoff game that the Bears lost to the Eagles, 2018. Normally, as a fan, that would be a crushing loss, right? Double doink.
Right.
It lives in infamy.
Actually, a block. Yeah.
whatever it was, that is when I was like 14 years old, 15 years old, a play that would have like ruined not only my night, but probably the next 3 days. When you're working in the media, when you're working in the business, it happens so fast and so quickly. And it's just like, okay, we got to go. Now, how do we cover this? How do we do this story? Like I said, it's like you almost don't have time to be emotional about it. And it does. It kind of changes your relationship with the team. And again, I try to be objective. So I don't know. It's hard to explain other than
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I will always have love in my heart for these teams,
but
I don't know that I would call myself
something
a fan.
Inside you, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't know that I would call myself a fan anymore, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, I love fantasy football. I like sports betting. I used to love having Bears on my team. Now I don't. I specifically don't draft Bears. I will not bet on the Bears because, again, I don't want that coloring my coverage of them. Right. So I've tried to like have a separation of church and state to a degree, if that makes any sense.
Perfect sense. Before we get to you, PJ, Retro with his $2 super chat saying, Alex, is that a Picasso Rembrandt in the background?
I wish it was something that nice. It is actually a very special painting to my wife and I, though. So we got this from a random artist on the street in Prague. When my wife and I got engaged, we went on a little European vacation. We spent a good amount of time in Prague. We loved it. And we just saw this artist. We thought he was really cool. We were drawn to this painting. Mm-hmm. So we got it.
It's on your wall now.
Exactly. And, you know, it's very special, as like I said, because this was our engagement trip.
That's awesome.
So it is not a Picasso. It is not a Rembrandt. I believe the artist's name is Muraz. I have no idea how to pronounce it. It was very hard for us to actually communicate with this guy because our Czech is not good. I can order a beer in Czech, and that's about it. But it is Muraz. He was a really, really nice guy, and he had really cool stuff.
Muraz, sounds like, yeah. I'm sorry. I also need to introduce you, Alex, to our co-hosts here, PJ and Foster, and our producer, Walt. PJ is he's a former police officer, so he wants to interrogate you right now. So we'll let him go with the questions.
Alex, first of all, I want to say thank you, man, for coming on the show. Really glad to have you. We've been wanting to have you here for a while, so I'm glad you was finally able to make it. So thank you. As far as my questioning, you know, it's not going to be interrogation. So, but,
I can take the heat, I swear.
Get the flashlight, Foster. Get the flashlight. We're ready for it.
Foster's in his car, by the way, Alex. That's how devoted he is. He's in his car. Because he was at training camp today, so it's too far of a drive to go back home, so he had to sit in his car for the show.
So, Alex, what's the most challenging part about covering the Bears right now?
Well, right now, I think the most challenging thing about covering them is we are really in the dog days of training camp. You know, I am just like, let's get to the regular season already.
Right.
And especially when we hear the starters aren't going to play, or if Justin Fields isn't going to play on Saturday, select starters are not going to play on Saturday.
He's not playing?
I'm fairly certain. I was talking with my guys. I was looking at the tweets. I believe Justin Fields will not play this Saturday. Basically, Flus, I believe, said they saw enough from him in practice, right? Joint practices are really important. Joint practices are great. You can see a lot in joint practices. So why risk the body? I actually think it's a really smart decision, right? You got to see him play against a real opponent, a different opponent. You got to see him doing all sorts of different things for 2 days over what seemed to be very competitive practices. But why risk it? Why risk it? So
I agree.
I bought 7 tickets to go to this game.
Oh no. Well, you know what? This will be fun time to going back to our PJ Walker and our Tyson Bagent conversation. You know, that this is where the light shines on them now. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news for you, PJ.
Get your hopes up for Tyson Bagent, man. Come on, it's a Tyson Bagent show, PJ.
Man, just broke my heart.
Sorry, man. Sorry,
man. Finally meet Alex, and he's a bearer of bad news. Well, thanks, Alex. I appreciate it.
It was actually Walter. Walter said it earlier in the show. You just missed it. He pulled up that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So I'm just, you know, at the beginning of training camp, I have all these storylines and I have all these things that I'm looking for. And that's not to say that there aren't storylines now, because things evolve, things change, right? Tyreek Stevenson, I thought, had the CB2 job buttoned up, and then all of a sudden Terrell Smith emerges as a real competitor. That's interesting. Watching Yannick Ngakoue ramp up, that is interesting. But
how was that going though? His ramp up.
He's barely done anything. Now, again, I'm not at Indianapolis to watch these joint practices, so I don't know if he did anything like super spectacular over the past 2 days. But he was just starting to get his feet wet in team period stuff, and then obviously didn't play in that first preseason game. So he is still in the ramp up portion of that ramp up. So again, there are still things that are interesting, but these are the moments where it feels more like a grind, right? Okay. The first week, the first 10 days, you're so hyped. You're like, oh my God, we've been doing nothing but speculating and talking about this, just like what could be, ifs, right. All that stuff. The first 10 practices are great. And now we're kind of like in that in-between time again, where it's like, just get me to the regular season already. I'm not trying to complain. Like, right. What we do is awesome, and it's very cool, but I'm ready for September 10th, man.
Yeah. Now you have a note. Do you have a notebook with all your notes for what you've been watching and what you've been observing that you mind sharing with us?
Yes, sir. I don't have my notebook in front of me. Would you like me to get it?
Sure. Yes.
All right, I can do that. It'll take me.
Make the man just a moment. Go to work right now. What are you doing, PJ?
Hey,
it's all right. It's all right. It's right in my backpack, right over there.
I'm a fan of that.
Back in a flash. I'll be back in a flash. And honestly, it's on me. I should have been prepared. That's on me. I should have been better prepared. So I'll take the L. It's all good. BRB.
Guys,
Alex is my guy, man. I like Alex.
Alex is awesome. If you guys have any questions for Alex, go ahead and get them ready, and we'll save them for later. We'll kind of get to that towards the end of Alex's time on the show here with us. I'm sure he would love to take some of your questions. Some of my questions for Alex are not going to be football related, so I'll save that for you guys.
This is my last question for Alex. I just want to know what his thoughts are.
Look at that. See? Lickety split. Told you it would take no time at all.
You the man.
The magical notebook. Courtesy. Nice. Can you not see it? Oh, it's too bright. But courtesy of the White Sox. When I was pitching it on the White Sox beat, they gave me this nice reporter pad that I still use for the Bears now.
Nice.
If
you weren't Alex Shapiro, I would have pulled you from the show for that. Being a Sox fan.
Oh, well, here's the thing. I have love in my heart for the Cubs, too. I come from a split household. My father's side, Sox fan. My mother's side, Cubs fans. We just happened to go more Sox fans when I was a kid. So I, grew up.
I mean, the Cubs are awful. They've been awful forever. So why wouldn't you?
Sure. But, I want my mom to be happy. I want my grandmother to be happy. So
right,
when the Cubs win, it's all love.
Exactly. Hey, I actually rooted for the Sox when they won the World Series in 25. Oh
my gosh.
They were from Chicago. I rooted for them.
Love that, Shorty.
Yeah, listen, I'm a Cubs fan at heart, but if the Sox are in it and they're winning and the Cubs aren't, I'll gladly root for the Sox just because they're from Chicago. I know that's being very fair weatherish, but I mean, I don't have any major love in my heart for the Sox, but I do because they're from Chicago, period. It's just a city love thing. That's all.
Hell yeah, man. We need more of that. Just love. Everybody love everybody. Come on now.
I mean, we only have one football team, so that's why we all buy into that. So we're all united with that, and then we're divided by baseball. When there's no reason to be, really.
True.
They're not in the same conference, so who cares?
Love to love.
Looks like we lost Foster. Walt, did you have anything you wanted to ask Alex? Because I have a question.
I actually want to bring up Leo Factor's question earlier. He wants to ask your opinion on the D-line depth, just how they're generally doing in training camp.
D-line depth. Okay, so I actually think Jervon Dexter and Zach Pickens have flashed really impressive moments. And I think we all saw that during the preseason game. Pickens obviously had that sack. Jervon didn't maybe flash quite as much during the preseason game, but there have been reps where Jervon is just in the backfield in an instant. And you go, whoa, that's the dude. That's the dude that they drafted. That's why they brought this guy here. Now, I think each man is probably still a little bit of a work in progress, right? I would not anticipate either guy overtaking Andrew Billings or Justin Jones by week 1. By week 18, we'll see. But yeah, no, I've seen the moments where you go, that dude is fast, that dude is big, that dude can be dominant. And, you know, I do find myself writing down 96 and 98 and circling them a few times. So to bring it back to the notebook, the last practice that I saw, one of the last things I saw, 96 batted ball. Love to see it. We've got 98 again in the backfield. So yeah, the guys have flashed. Has it been like every single snap, every single rep? No, of course not. And again, like I said, I still think Andrew Billings and Justin Jones are the starters, but encouraging signs from the rooks.
Okay. Foster, you have a question? Since we lost you for a minute? You're muted, by the way. No? All right. I have a question for you. What's your favorite food? If you were on death row, what would be your last meal? What's your favorite food?
Phenomenal question. It's probably gonna be a T-bone steak basted in butter. Let's do for the side dish some garlic mash, and because we need a green on the plate, between roasted asparagus.
Wait, no, you're on death row. You don't need a green on the plate. You just have to have your favorite meal. You don't have to worry about vegetables.
You're right. That's a good point. I'm about to die.
Right.
In that case, let's make it wings. Let's make it. We're gonna swap out the green for chicken wings, extra crispy, nice and saucy too. So I want the crispy, but I also want them saucy, and it's got to be blue cheese. And then for dessert, we're gonna do 2 desserts because again, I'm on death row.
Go for it.
One is gonna be a key lime pie, and the other one's gonna be a cherry pie. Bam.
Love it.
So you're going with standard buffalo sauce, hot standard buffalo sauce.
Steak, mashed potatoes, and wings with standard hot buffalo sauce.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And 2 desserts.
Sure, why not?
Mine would be 10 Italian beefs from all different places.
Oh my god, that's such a great call too.
Honestly, just pick my 10 best. I'll just eat every one of them until I just put the needle in me, and I'll just dump it all out on the table when you're done with me.
I love
that. Foster, you're muted, buddy? You want to get in this conversation? Sitting in the dark there on your phone?
I don't know if you guys. Well, I started to say before when I didn't have a question, because I was off for a little bit. I'm driving through where all the radar towers are and stuff, and all those giant fans and off the 65. I'm actually driving, guys.
It's crazy.
Stay safe out there.
Did you guys talk about Travis Gibson?
Not yet.
No.
Did you guys bring up Travis Gibson at all?
No. Thoughts?
He is just
on
been,
Travis?
Yeah, he's been on it.
I guess
today too.
I guess my follow-up question to that was there too much time against second and third stringers to actually come up with an overall consensus of how well he's going to play? Or is it just because of the things he was doing that you see in that previous game? You know, like Greg Gabriel said, he pointed out all the things he was doing in the game that were going to make a difference for him this season, taking the next step. Sure. Do you believe that, or is it just not too much? You can't possibly come up with the answer from this one preseason game.
I want to be honest. I think I've been seeing it from Travis Gibson all camp. I was stunned when I saw him buried at the bottom of that depth chart.
Wow.
Now Terrell Lewis has been solid too. Those guys are like kind of trading blow for blow. And again, I'm not a defensive line scout. I don't know what Travis Smith is asking these guys to do. I don't know what Ellen Williams and Matt Eberflus are asking these guys to do. So when I look at the tape, when I watch a game, Travis Gibson, it might look like he's doing something nice, but maybe he's missing his assignment, he's missing his alignment, et cetera, et cetera. Those are things we'll just never know. That could explain why he is buried. But like I said, in practice, I mean, I've seen Travis Gibson beat Darnell Wright like seemingly 10 times, or get the better of Larry Borum, a dozen times. especially when we hear from the guy like Ryan Poles talking about like grading the flashes. When Travis gives him flashes, in my eyes, he really flashes. And now I talked to him after that game on Saturday because I went and I was like, dude, you had a great game. After being buried on the depth chart, you just had a great game. And you would take me through that, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, honestly, I think I left plays out there. That's my takeaway. I was too close too many times, and I need to step it up. And then, he told me about, I'm not looking left. I'm not looking right. I'm not trying to play this numbers game. I just got to look in the mirror and do the best for me. And if I do the best for me and do the best job that I can, rather, things should hopefully work out. It's interesting. He and Terrell Lewis are actually buds. They went to the, I believe, Senior Bowl together in 2020. Oh. Yeah. And apparently they would like sit next to each other on the bus and yuck it up. So he loves being on the Bears with Terrell Lewis now, and just obviously hopes that both of them make the team. But the reality of the business is that maybe not both of them will make the team. And he just goes, whether I'm on this team and he's not, or whether he's on the team and I'm not. I know this is a wide league, and I know that I just want both of us to be successful somewhere, which was, refreshing to hear. I thought it was really genuine. It seems like he knows what the score is. When you look around with Yannick Ngakoue coming in, obviously it bumps everybody down. You've got Rasheem Green and DeMarcus Walker clearly ahead of you. You have Dominique Robinson clearly ahead of you. But just my eyes, my completely untrained eyes, again, not knowing what the coaches are asking these guys to do, I have been really impressed with Trevis Gipson and looking at it like, okay, last year the Bears maybe asked him to do too much, right? When he was the third option, when he was the fourth option, he could produce. Working behind Khalil Mack, working behind Robert Quinn as a rotational wave guy. When you make him the number one option, it didn't work out. But if he can go back to being a wave guy, right? These tackles are just getting banged and banged and banged by Yannick Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker or Rasheem Green for a little while. And then, bam, you get Trevis Gipson with fresh legs coming out on Series 4 or Series 5 or what have you. That's where he can make an impact. That's kind of how I see it. And that's where I think he can honestly still be successful in this league. And again, like I said, I've been impressed with him in practice, and I was very impressed with him in the preseason game, even though he told me he was not happy that he left too many plays on the field.
What have you seen from Nate Davis in this limited number of snaps?
Not a lot, because it's been a limited number of snaps, to be honest. I'm not going to judge anything from the early goings with no pads on, because you just really can't assess defensive linemen or offensive linemen with pads on. I think there was maybe one padded practice that I saw of his off the top of my head. Not a lot notable, which is probably a good thing for an offensive lineman. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's kind of like that's kind of a cop out, but I just haven't seen enough. He needs to be out there. He needs to be out there.
Do you know what's keeping him out?
No, the Bears are very tight-lipped about injuries at this time of year. They've told us that they're only going to update us for long-term injuries, and we've gotten no updates. So it stands to reason none of the injuries are serious. But I know he has been back. He's returned recently. He has been getting more padded practices in. Like I said, I wasn't at Indianapolis to watch these, so I didn't get to see the padded practices with Nate Davis in there. But he seems to be on the mend. He seems to be on his way back into the starting rotation.
Did you ever find out what kept Tevin out last year?
What kept Tevin out last year?
Yes.
So last season he missed time with a hip. That was kind of like a nagging injury. And then obviously he had that very
preseason.
Oh, last preseason.
Yeah.
No.
Last preseason.
No, I never found out. I don't know. I don't remember if I asked him about it or not.
Okay.
I can't recall. But, you know, maybe now that it's like so much more in the past and
Right.
he's so solid at left guard, maybe I can pick at that scab and see what really happened. But no, I don't recall.
See, it's my speculation that he was out because of his weight. That, you know, the ideal weight was 320 pounds, because he's mentioned that a couple of times in the interview, and he was saying that, he's currently at, and he's given the precise weight. So I was wondering, well, he probably couldn't practice until he reached that weight. So I'm wondering, is Nate Davis falling in that same category now?
I don't think it would be that, to be honest. I don't think they would hold the guy out because he is 4 pounds off or whatever. Well, I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think it would be that, to be honest. I bet it's some sort of soft tissue, nagging groin, nagging this, that, or the other thing. And that maybe if it was a regular season game, he would be going. But since it was the first half of training camp and the dude's a veteran, it's like, just get healthy and get out there. You know what I mean? And Eberflus did say, now, I don't know that he would throw Nate Davis under the bus. So maybe take this with a grain of salt. But I believe he gave the team like top marks for meeting their conditioning goals. And they do that for every player. You know, every single player gets a very specific range that they're supposed to come to training camp at.
Right.
And I know that Flus gave the team high marks for their conditioning goals.
Okay. All right.
One of my questions that I have for you is Travis Bell. What have you seen just from being around the team as much as you have from him? I'm kind of worried about maybe he gets put on the practice squad and then we lose him. What are your thoughts on him so far from what you've seen? Is he someone that we can kind of be excited about?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit of a path for Travis Bell to get any sort of playing time. I agree with you. I think he's on track to be a practice squad guy now, just because there are, you know, several guys on that defensive line that you are probably keeping ahead of him. And you feel good about your top four being Justin Jones, Andrew Billings, Jervon Dexter, and Zach Pickens. And then I just know the team really likes Andrew Brown, what he brought at the tail end of last year. He's still in the building. I kind of see it as Travis Bell heading to the practice squad.
So are you saying Walker might be cut?
DeMarcus Walker?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm just talking about like the interior guys.
Well, so they have him listed as a defensive end, right? But is he really a defensive end?
DeMarcus Walker, he's also missed a lot of practice, so it's hard to tell. Now, here's a little interesting wrinkle. So I have not noticed DeMarcus Walker line up at tackle at all. But again, in the limited time that he was out there because he got hurt and he's missed a lot of time. Rasheem Green, though. Rasheem Green is the guy we've seen pop into tackle for their quote unquote NASCAR package. So when they get a lot of dudes in there, if they're going to move and end inside, it has been Rasheem Green. It's looked pretty good. They've used Rasheem Green on a bunch of twists and stunts, and it's given the Bears fits, to be quite honest. They have struggled. So they had one really, really bad day against the twists, and Rasheem Green was really in the middle of it. Dom Robb also was pretty effective on those twists. And then in individual drills, the O-line was just working on twists during individual drills. And then for a day, it looked like they were much improved. And like a few days later, once again, the Bears just kept getting stunts. So again, small sample size, especially since D-Walk hasn't been out there too much, but it's been Rasheem Green who's been kicked in.
Now, what about Dieter Eisland? He's a fan favorite of ours as well as others. So what have you seen from him?
I have not watched a lot of Dieter Eisland, truth be told. I just haven't tuned into him. If those like threes are on the field, I've been looking elsewhere. He seems to be behind a few guys as well, which is Also why I haven't tuned in too much. Right now, the way it is shaking out is Lucas Patrick is your backup right guard, and then Jatiri Carter is behind Lucas Patrick. And then Alex Leatherwood has really been the backup left guard. And we've seen some Doug Kramer taking center snaps.
How has that looked?
Not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, I haven't noticed too many balls on the ground, too many balls over Justin Fields' head. Honestly, the exchange with Cody Whitehair and with Kramer has been solid.
Good.
Oh, that's interesting.
Peter was out there with the first team today, and he looked okay, man. I mean, I didn't catch every snap, but because I was watching defense and offense, I was sitting in the perfect spot right in between both. They were at opposite ends of the fields, which means I was literally watching the defense and the offense play at the same time because of where I was sitting. And every time I looked over, he was pushing his man backwards or he was moving forward. I didn't see him going backwards too much. Running plays, passing plays. He looked solid with the first team that I saw.
That's some breaking news right there. Well, maybe not breaking news because I haven't been super dialed into every single tweet because it was the night practice.
About it today. It was today's. It was literally an hour before this show started.
What happened with Cody Whitehair? Why wasn't Cody Whitehair out there?
I don't know. I was wondering it myself, and somebody said that there was an injury, and I'm like, I saw him all day yesterday, so I don't know when that happened.
Oh boy,
I have no idea.
With the trainer today.
I just heard about it, and you know what? I was on the wrong side of the field for that because that's offense. I was sitting on the Colts side because I was hoping to be there for the 11-on-11. And that kind of got messed up because everybody ran to one side. But when I went to the bathroom and got back, I couldn't even get back there to see anything. It was, but he looked okay every time. And I probably saw him every third play. And they maybe ran like 18 plays that I might have seen out of the two rotations of the line. And he was out there with the first team, and there was no fumbles. Matter of fact, according to the scoreboard, the Bears scored 12 touchdowns today. They literally put it up on a scoreboard. 3 of them went to DJ Moore. I mean, the offense looked pretty good. That was on the 7-on-7 drills, but it looked really good on the 7-on-7 drills, man. 11-on-11, I missed.
You want to be good in 7-on-7s. All right, so there we go. Foster's our boots on the ground.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, you were saying we were talking before the show. You're like, I wasn't at training camp. I wasn't at the joint practices today. I'm like, yeah, one of our co-hosts was. Don't worry, we got you.
Amazing.
I got some footage of it too.
It's random trivia time, Alex.
Oh.
What school produced the most Chicago Bears draft picks? A, Ohio State, B, Northwestern, C, Notre Dame, or D, USC?
We're talking in the history of the organization?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame because Notre Dame football has been around a long time, and they've been really good for a long time.
It's a good answer.
It's the correct answer.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Notre Dame, too. I'm sticking with Alex.
Well, I'm going to go with Notre Dame as well.
I'll throw this in.
Walt knows it.
Go ahead, Walt.
He knows the answer. Go ahead, Foster.
I know the answer.
Walt, get on the chat and tell me the answer, and then never mind.
The answer's in the chat.
The answer's in the chat?
It's in the chat. I can't see it too good right now.
Retro says C. Jay Grizz says Irish. Cliff Victoria says Notre Dame. Doug Van Dorn says C, Notre Dame.
A lot of people going Irish.
Jay Grizz,
I will
Irish.
say this. If the Bears had drafted more players from USC, they probably would have a lot more Super Bowls because obviously USC, best football program in the nation. That's all I'm saying. If it was a lot more Super Bowls for the Bears.
I'm going to say C, but I want to say Northwestern second because they used to get a lot of players from them back in the day when PJ was there, when the league started.
So just a wild hunch here. Just a wild hunch. Did you go to USC, Alex?
I did. I am a Trojan.
Okay.
I am a Trojan.
That's where that came from. Got it now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because we're looking at you going, USC, the best football program. All right, is he talking about the 70s?
Listen, I was there for the Pete Carroll days. It was great.
Yeah. What is the answer? It is C, right?
The answer is C. Yes.
Yeah. USC.
See
Now
what
I
drafting a
wanna-
bunch
I
of
wanna know
domers
who's
does
second,
for your
Walt.
team? Not a whole lot. Apologies to Equinez St. Brown and Chase Claypool and Sam Mustafer and Cole Komet and
I wish I could be so proud about my own college, but I went to American Academy of Art. We didn't have any sports.
Hey, you could still be proud. There's still plenty to be proud about, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm very proud of going to there. It's just we didn't have any players that play in the NFL now. So
Handball.
we should have Swifty coming on here soon. He's going to wrap up the rest of the show with us. He wanted to kind of ask you. I think he had a question. I'm sure you know who Swifty is, right, Alex? Wow,
Swift Sports Network.
Taylor Swift is coming on the show?
Yeah, Taylor Swift is coming on the
now
show.
I got
We've got big.
Yeah.
Come on.
We've gotten big fast, man. Happened really quick.
Wow.
Swifty Sports, Swift Sports Network.
Weeks.
He was on last week. He hopped in with us when Glenn Morgan was on the show, and Glenn ended up asking him questions. I was like, "Damn, this is crazy."
Glenn's my guy.
Yeah.
I love Glenn.
Yeah, he's
Glenn-
awesome. Glenn's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Glenn's awesome.
Super guy. I literally got him to spit up his bourbon though. On air.
What was it? What was the comment that did it?
Oh God, it was.
We
Something.
were on with Just Another Year, Nick from Just Another Year, another podcast, and they brought up something about I rehab houses, so I was working on a basement. And they're like, "That's where Foster keeps the bodies," and he goes, "Wait a minute, man, your bio hair. Didn't John Wayne Gacy live over there?" And just as Glenn's gonna sip on his bourbon or scotch, whatever he was drinking, I go, "I used to walk past Gacy's house every day," and he just went. He had to go off the camera and everything, and he goes, "That's the last time I put a drink to my mouth if I know Foster's going to open his, man." Something like that. It was funny. It was funny. We laughed about it. Even the next day, we laughed about it.
Incredible.
He's a super guy. I really like him, man.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with him on the show.
So glad to hear it.
And I enjoy your work too, Alex, man. I didn't get to say this when you guys were all talking, because unfortunately, I'm not catching as much because of this show, but I still get to bounce around, man. And when I see, there's certain things I'll just stop. It's like, you ever see E.F. Hutton? Remember E.F. Hutton commercials where they go, "Well, my broker's E.F. Hutton," and then everybody go like this? They shut up and listen. There's a few guys I do that too, and you're one of them, man. So I just wanted you to know that.
Appreciate that. Very kind, Foster. Thank you.
If E.F. Hutton talks, people
I currently live in Atlanta now, so I drive a lot back and forth from Illinois to here just to see family and stuff. So I listen to the Under Center podcast and hear you and Kenneth and everybody else on that show, and that's one of my favorites too. So that's why it's really awesome to have you on the show with us tonight.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
we are
very
fans. Yes, we are fans.
And we're jealous.
I did
wish
want
I
to
could
bring.
have your job.
I wanted to bring one more thing up because I have the entire roster in front of me. They handed it out to everybody for both teams.
Yes, sir.
And I was going through it. What?
I
was going through the roster, and I'm looking at, so they got Terrell Lewis listed as a defensive lineman, and then they got just a bunch of guys, D'Anthony Jones, defensive lineman. And then you go down and it's Bravion Roy, defensive tackle. And then they list more defensive linemen and defensive tackles. And then you get to Yannick Ngakoue and it says defensive end. And you get to Rasheem Green and it says defensive end. So Derek Walker's listed as a defensive lineman. So and Zach Pickens, defensive lineman. Andrew Billings, defensive tackle. The designations are telling me that any of these guys with DL, and they showed it today because, boy, I wish that was even yesterday. I wish Shorty knows because the defense they ran out there yesterday for one of the practice, I'm going, I said, man, we got 3 pass rushers on the field at the same time, and they're all playing next to each other. 2 tackles and a defensive end. I mean, they just the stuff. And I said, Flus is checking every angle to see what these guys are capable. That's my theory anyways, because they were literally going live against Indianapolis's Team 1 offense. And Flus had all these guys all over the place. So I didn't catch that until I started looking at it today, how they listed all the defensive linemen, defensive tackles, and defensive ends.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. They're going to do a lot of rotation with these guys.
Did
I think we're solid.
was that from the Colts
better than people
staff?
think.
Was it from the Colts staff?
No,
or from
no.
the Bears.
This is the Bears. They hand out at the practice. There's a sheet, and they hand it out to everybody. Everybody can have one.
Sure.
One side is every player on the Bears, and the other side is every player on the Colts. But this
Gotcha.
is the Bears list that they're using, and they have it listed that way. Like I started looking at Indianapolis, isn't it? And it's really just defensive end and defensive lineman. The Bears have 4 different designations on these guys.
Is Terrell Lewis
So,
the linebacker still?
Terrell
on there?
Lewis is listed as a defensive lineman.
Oh, okay.
No, wait. Let me check. No. Terrell Lewis is he is delisted as a defensive lineman, which,
Okay.
that's
It was a linebacker.
either
though.
place.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know
it's
that I
not
would read too
linebacker.
much into that,
It's
Foster.
defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's
Well
it's
said,
a little
Alex.
odd to flip it and then
It is
not
weird.
see the same type of setup. So
It is
just
weird.
throwing it out there, man.
No. I mean, it's a good
I'm
observation. It is.
Pontificating.
It is a good observation,
Pontificating.
and it is curious. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, but I don't know that I would make too much of it. But like you said, I mean, like what you see on the grass, what you saw today, that's the most important stuff. When you see Rasheem Green move into defensive tackle, like that's real. When you see, like you said, as you said, they've got 3 down linemen instead of the typical 4, and they have that extra person, whether they're repping end of game scenarios, right? Where you just can't give up the 40-yard pass. So that's why you have the 3 down linemen and you have the extra defensive back or the extra whatever back there. That to me is more real. So I would trust your eyes, what you saw on the grass, more than like whatever it says are listed on the piece of paper, to be quite honest.
He just the way they were rotating the players. I mean, literally they'd have a defensive tackle and 3 defensive ends on the line.
Sure.
So it was just a little intriguing. I'm going. He's got to be fitting these guys in to see what he's got where. That's my what I'm looking at from what I see. So
Yeah.
100%.
I just want to throw it out
That's
there.
real. That's real. They will want to do those things. Probably 3rd and 15s or whatever. They're going to want to see if they can get one of those extra defensive end pure pass rushers in to see if they can get a push from the interior of the pocket. You take Andrew Billings out, you put one of those guys in to get that extra speed. That's real. And they're 100% trying to figure out what they got in these guys right now, because that's what this time of the year is for. So again, Foster, that is a good observation. That's real. And we'll see how that plays out now in the preseason games, how that looks in more of a real game scenario. And then we'll see what the coaches do with it from there, because
Now
they're
is
just
the best
evaluating
time.
everything. They're evaluating everything right now.
Now is the best time to experiment with things, is right now, especially in joint practice against new blood.
Yep.
Well,
I'm
Swifty
anxious to see what they do Saturday.
Let's bring on Swifty. I know Swifty wants to ask some questions to Alex, I'm sure, before Alex takes up.
What's good, guys? What's good?
From Swift Sports, Alex. Thanks for joining us, Swifty.
How's it going? Good show. Good show so far.
Swifty in the house.
Foster, long time no see. PJ, always a pleasure. Walter, Shorty, Alex, nice to meet you, man. Seen you on your show 1,000 times at least, probably. Nice to meet you.
I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to meet you as well, Swifty.
I appreciate.
I'm glad
that,
we're crossing paths here.
Hey, I love it, man. That's why I love Shorty and what they do over here. I love promoting these guys, man. They're good people, and they're real Bears fans, and I love them, man. They're good guys.
Totally.
Thank you, Swifty.
We don't try to come on here and pretend like we know everything. We're not going to come on here and try to pretend like we're going to break down film. We're just here to be fans and talk about the Bears and there's life that gets involved in that too. We end up talking about food and all kinds of different shit. It's just it's a fun show. It's a real life show, and it's nice to like see the smiles on the faces of our guests that come on and realize how much fun they're having. Seeing Glenn spit on his bourbon and stuff like that. That's what makes this show.
I will say, you guys were talking about white hair earlier. It seemed they were wrapping his hand up. Don't know what happened exactly, but they were wrapping his hand up. So something with his hand, hopefully not a Lucas Patrick situation from last year. That's the only thing I'd be worried about.
Right hand or left hand?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're not going
Couldn't
to.
tell.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you saw him wrapping up his hand, I wonder if you saw.
I saw the report that they were wrapping up his hand. You couldn't see it. They took him right back in the trainer's room, and Doug Kramer came out. Couldn't see anything he was doing, but the report, I think it was Courtney Cronin, said that she saw them wrapping his hand up. It's one of them. It was either her or someone on Twitter said it. I saw it.
I'm gonna look up Courtney Cronin's Twitter right now. Let's see what she says.
If it wasn't Cronin, it might have been Zach Pearson. Those are probably the only two people I really follow or get constant updates from on there. It's one of those guys. I think
both of them, Courtney
Yes.
and Zach, are both excellent reporters. So if they say it, I believe it to be true. Okay, right hand injury.
Oh, there it is.
Per Courtney Cronin 1 hour ago. No update yet on Cody Whitehair, who has a right hand injury. That is obviously a little scarier.
That's
That's a snapping hand. I'm 92% certain.
It is.
I'm trying to call it into my mind. I don't want to say 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's a snapping hand.
That's snapping.
He's ready.
Yeah,
he's ready.
Let me just say that Swifty and Alex has just broke some breaking news for us. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
With an
It's
assist
not
from Courtney
great news.
Cronin an hour ago at practice.
Yeah.
Man.
She hit us. Hey, she hit us
I
with it.
didn't even see it, and I was there all day, and I didn't see nothing of it because they must have done it. It must have been by the tent, man, or where
I
like
mean,
the
they just
exit
take
for
him
all the
away.
play.
I mean, the only thing we'd see is Kramer being out there and Whitehair not being out there. I mean, which
Now,
is,
am I correct? Lucas
scary.
Patrick is still out, correct?
he is.
Yeah.
So that's getting
That's
a little
why Cody
scary
was-
because I know Foster saying he liked what he saw from Kramer, but I've seen him on the ground way too many times.
No, I said Cody, not Kramer. I said
Okay,
Whitehair
okay.
today.
I've seen
Talking
the
about
snaps that
today.
looked okay. But I mean, he's always on the ground. He snaps the ball and then he ends up on the ground a lot. Yesterday there was 3 or 4 times where immediately after snapping the ball, he's face down on the ground and defensive tackles just laying on top of him. And I'm like, oh, there's Kramer again on the ground. I was like,
In fact, I heard you say, "Oh, Kramer just got pancaked."
yeah, I did say that once or twice yesterday. Yeah, it was,
It's on one of the videos I sent, right? Sure.
I didn't know Foster
It's
was
on the
recording.
video
it,
we're
but
gonna
yeah,
show
I'm
later,
like,
I was, dude. I started cracking up. It messed up my recording because you said pancake, and I'm just like, I saw him on the ground 3 times.
yeah,
You were
I mean,
laughing your ass
What?
off at the end of that.
It is his
I
first
was.
action
I
in
was.
the NFL, though. So he was a rookie last year. He missed the whole season on the IR. This is his first real action in the NFL. So I'm not overly worried, but with how the rest of our line is played and how good they look and how excited we all are for Justin Fields and everything, the last thing in the world I want is Doug Kramer to be starting week 1 against the Packers. That's a little scary, but hopefully he's just fine and they're just being taking precautions with him.
How would you feel if Doug Kramer was starting week 1, Alex?
I need to watch more Doug Kramer, to be honest. If, from what Swifty saw, no bueno. It seems like we are going to get a real good look at Doug Kramer on Saturday, though. So ask me on Sunday, because it seems like it's probably going to be a little bit of the Doug Kramer show.
Yeah, that could be a reason why the starters aren't playing. If whatever happened to Whitehair today keeps him out Saturday, there's no way Flus wants Justin Fields out there taking snaps from Doug Kramer this week. Like,
Right.
no need for that.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah.
hopefully we get to see a lot of him and Dieter Iceland, and hopefully one of them stands out. That's the best case scenario. And then even if Whitehair, knock on wood, this is scaring me now. I'm scaring myself. Guys, Whitehair's fine, okay? He's fine. He's just getting his hand wrapped up, okay? He's got a sore finger. That's it.
He just jammed his finger, guys.
Yeah, it happens. You know how many times I
Could
jam
be.
my fingers? Yeah, they're
could
crooked.
be.
They're crooked. Okay, it's been done. Never broke one though, so it's okay.
Steve S in chat is saying Kramer is not strong enough. I know Steve S. He's one of my best friends, and if not my best friend. Okay, I'm sorry. He's my best friend. Sorry, Steve. But he's a huge Illini fan, and he's been saying from day one he's not strong enough. And then he's saying he's fine if he's playing Toledo.
No Toledo in the NFL.
Right. I mean,
But I
the
remember
whole
being
year.
excited because we drafted a hometown kid, and he's like, no, the kid, he's not strong enough. He can't
He's
play center.
undersized, and when I watched him on tape last year, he's really smart. I mean, he was the center for Illinois for 3 straight years, made all the calls, got a lot of experience, never missed a game, and his thing was he's a little undersized, so you wanted him to get a little bit bigger and see if he could hold up strength-wise in the NFL. And he got hurt, so we never got to see that. So now he's coming back from an injury and being undersized. It's a little scary for me. I mean, you hope that he comes back and just steps right into it, but it's definitely worrisome if that were to happen this year. We're taking snaps from Doug Kramer. I'd be scared. At that point, I'd want to look into free agency and bring in another center.
But you
Or you're
can
looking
build
to see who
strength
gets
with
cut, who gets waived.
Yeah,
You know.
the big cut day coming up, and there's already guys like Ben Jones out there as well. But that's worst case scenario if Whitehair's not healthy. But that's the good news though, is they get a chance this weekend now with outfields out there. We're going to get a lot of reps for Doug Kramer and Dieter Iceland, and hopefully, like I said, one of them stands out and has a great game. That's what we're hoping for this week. And Lucas Patrick can get back soon.
Guys, I don't want to keep Alex too long. I know we had a bunch of questions start from chat. So let's get to some questions from chat for Alex. Doug Van Dorn is saying, how are you feeling about these days about O-line depth? Does Jatari Carter's play against Tennessee ease your mind a little bit about it?
That is a great question, because that was probably my number one concern starting at the very beginning of training camp, because Larry Barroom, I think, took a step back in this system, in the Chris Morgan system and in the wide zone system. And he's looking like your swing tackle. And then, we talk about Lucas Patrick and Jatari Carter and Alex Leatherwood. One of those guys can emerge, but none of them to me is like reliable in the sense that they don't have a track record, right? Lucas Patrick was a total disaster at guard last year. Jatari Carter has like 30 career snaps, so it's hard to trust that guy. And then Alex Leatherwood just has not ever been able to find a home at any position in the NFL. Now, it looks like he's finally stuck at left guard. And I've seen some good things. What's that?
Mono will do that to you.
Mono will do that to you. And I actually do think Alex Leatherwood's had some nice snaps in practice at left guard. And I do think, going back to the question about Jatari Carter's play against Tennessee, I thought he looked really good on some of those screen passes, where now I'm seeing him out in space blocking downfield, and that looked solid. That looks like really good.
Yep.
The pass pro, I want to see more, because he wasn't going up against Jeffrey Simmons on that Titans defensive line. He was going against their backups, because the Titans really held out a lot of their starters. So again, it's kind of hard to fully assess the pass pro there, just because we didn't see the Titans at their full strength. But seeing him moving out in space as a lead blocker was encouraging. I still think, to circle back how I'm feeling about the O-line depth these days, I still think the Bears could stand to add a piece or two on the offensive line, going back to that cut day. When all the teams go from 90 to 53 all at once, there are going to be some surprising names out there. There are going to be some intriguing names, and I think the Bears could probably stand to add some more depth to that group, both outside and inside.
That's the crazy thing. They have to go from 90 down to 53 in one day.
Yeah, they have 91 because they have Roy Mbateka, the international player, and since they went through that international program, they get an extra slot. So they are at 91 guys. But yeah, they got to go from 91 to 53 on August 29th, all in one fell swoop.
just like all the other teams. And then the good news there, though, is we do have that waiver priority.
Yes.
That's where if some surprise guys who are still on their first contract get cut, polls are going to be right there. But it's going to be tough because it's already, when you're trying to narrow down the 53, there's some tight battles there. So it's going to be tough, but offensive line might be the spot where it happens. That's a great call, Alex. Especially on the interior. Yeah.
What's the next question? So we got Alex. Chances that Roschon Johnson ends up running back 2 over Foreman game 1?
So slim. I'll give it a 5% chance, just because, maybe 10%. I'll be 10% chance. It's taken Roschon Johnson quite some time to work in with the ones, and the impetus for him getting work with the ones was really Tresson Ebner getting hurt. We were seeing Tresson Ebner get significant situational snaps with the ones ahead of Roschon Johnson, which to me was surprising. We've just heard so much about how the Bears love him. He's a future cornerstone, this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, took him a while to get those reps. I think Deonta Foreman, for my money, has actually been the most impressive running back at the training camp practices. Obviously, wow. Khalil Herbert had that awesome screen pass, and he looked pretty effective. He was solid for his 2 series. And then Deonta Foreman just did not have the splash plays that Khalil Herbert did in that preseason game. But I think Deonta Foreman has shown surprising wiggle. I always thought of him as more of a power back, maybe. And again, this could just be me being wrong. I thought of him as more of a north-south guy. I think he's been really elusive. We haven't seen a ton of pass catching previously, but he's been out there catching the ball. So I think there's a better chance that Deonta Foreman is your RB1 than Roschon Johnson ends up as your RB2.
I agree with that. I think if Roschon wants to get on the field, it's going to be that third down, and that's where Ebner or Homer were probably battling it for, because they have superior pass blocking skills, and that's where Roschon can stand out, and that's where he subbed in for Ebner when Ebner got hurt, just like Alex said there. But the 2 main guys coming off on first and second down, it's going to be Khalil Herbert and Deonta Foreman for the majority of the season. And I'm even really high on Roschon, but fans need to calm a little bit down with him starting and being a 3-down back when you have 2 established, like Khalil led the NFL in yards per carry last year. Deonta Foreman was second in the league in rushing from week 7 on, after Christian McCaffrey was traded. So those guys were both top of the NFL in rushing last year. They're both battling for a starting job, and those guys are going to be involved.
Smiling Cashews is saying, Alex, it's really looking like the Bears may keep 5 running backs. That'd be cool, but crazy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He'd have to be counting.
I mean, they'll keep 5 running backs. Are we including Kari Blasen game? Does he count? Because if they do, yes, they'll get to 5. The way I still see it is the Bears keeping Khalil Herbert, Deonta Foreman, Roschon Johnson, and Travis Homer because of what he brings on special teams. The Bears need to replace some core special teamers that they lost last season. And I think Travis Homer can be one of those core special teams players. So I think he's set. And even though Tresson Ebner has looked impressive in training camp at times, we've seen him juke out linebackers running arrow routes. They've run this arrow route to Tresson Ebner actually quite a bit, and it's looked good. But I still think he had a road ahead of him to make the team, and I think the team was giving him opportunities to really fight for that job. And then now that he's hurt, so I don't know if he came back. Again, I haven't been there the past couple of days, so I don't know if he came back, but he was hurt. He left that preseason game early. He did not return. He was not at practice on Monday when the Bears were at Hallis Hall. If that is an injury that keeps him off the practice field for an extended amount of time, I think his chances of making the team go down even more. But right now, I just think Tresson Ebner is the odd man out.
I agree.
I agree.
I never thought he looked as fast as he did in college either, in the NFL. He just seemed to look like he slowed down a little bit for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the speed of the game, just rookie season, because in the open space, he's been good. And actually, Ebner was pretty solid in special teams as well as a blocker. You know, and the blockers don't get a lot of love. But a couple of those Velus Jones returns at the end of the year. Remember, Velus Jones just all of a sudden became this great kick returner the kind of last quarter of the season. A lot of that was because Treston Ebner was laying down some really nice blocks out in front. So I guess I'm arguing against myself here. And I'm not just trying to be down. I'm not trying to put down Treston Ebner. It's just kind of when you look at the math, when you look around the team, I think they could benefit keeping an extra defensive back, an extra defensive lineman. Like, if it's me, I'm keeping Trevis Gibson over Treston Ebner.
Mm-hmm.
Again, yeah, if Ebner wants to win the job, I think you nailed it. He has to beat out Travis Homer. Like, they're not going to keep 5 halfbacks. So
right.
the fourth guy, if they keep they could potentially only keep 3 and a fullback, but good chance they keep 4. They did it last year, so 5 running backs total if you count the fullback. But Ebner and Homer, they're not both making the roster. I don't see any chance of that happening.
Me either.
And Homer looked decent today. They had him running the ball a few times, man. He looked decent. He did.
The thing Ebner has going
not
for
a
him
lot of touches.
Yeah. The only thing he has going for him is he's a full draft pick, so there you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's not like he was a high draft pick.
Yeah. Definitely not a high draft pick, but I mean, it's when it comes down to him or Travis Homer, it's going to be who's the better special teams guy. And Homer is established, but like you said, Ebner was surprisingly pretty good for a rookie last year. So I do think there's a competition there. I don't want to write Ebner off yet, because I mean, Homer is his skill that's been really good in the NFL has been pass blocking along with the special teams. If Roschon can improve enough that they're comfortable with him as a third down pass blocker, I think that could open the door for Ebner, but you're probably right there. Homer's probably going to win the job.
Jeremy Munoz says, how does Alex feel about pancakes? That's an inside joke. You don't have to answer it.
I'll answer it. I love pancakes. Offensive line blocks and the delicious breakfast treat. Butter and syrup.
Hey!
Give me I like triple stack. It's got to be a stack of 3 with butter in between each, syrup drizzled all over. If it's blueberry pancakes, extra points.
I had a
blueberry over chocolate chips. That's a hot take. Blueberry over chocolate chips.
I'm with that. Blueberry over the chocolate chips. All
blueberry. Swifty and I were talking about blueberry pancakes yesterday.
All right, Foster was like, I told him, I was like, I like blueberry pancakes, and he's like, I eat blueberries every day, and I was like, all right, Foster. All right.
Every day, man. Every morning.
My friend growing up down the street, his mother made these pancakes. They were the best pancakes I've ever had in my life. They were like super thin and about 3/4 of an inch all around. The entire edge was like crispy, almost like a cookie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they were so good. I don't know how she did it, but man, they were
and
good.
then soft and moist in the middle, right?
Yeah, they were amazing, but crispy on the outside with the syrup and the butter. Oh, it's good stuff. What's
we
the next
always
question?
end up on food.
Yeah, get off the food. Get off the food. What'd I tell you?
We always. What's the next question for Alex before we let him leave? Because I'm sure he's tired of talking to us.
I'm not tired of talking to you guys, but
you are tired.
I might just be tired.
I know what you're saying.
Not tired of talking to you guys, but maybe just a little tired. Period.
Yes.
All right. There's
What's the next question, buddy?
It doesn't look like there's a next question.
Did we lose
there's
him?
one more. It's from Joe Mandel.
There we go.
Look, he's running your show as producer.
I thought.
All right, Alex. All right.
I can look in the chat. It's okay.
We finally got one.
I accidentally X'd out of the chat a few minutes ago. I don't know what happened.
There it is. Bam.
Alex says he plays fantasy. Besides Fields and Moore, does he see Khalil Herbert as a workhorse back? Could he be a great mid-round value?
I am staying away from the Bears backfield in fantasy. So again, I know I said I have this rule. I don't draft Bears because I don't want it to affect my coverage. If I'm throwing that out the window, and I am going to draft Bears, probably the only two guys that I would draft are Justin Fields and DJ Moore. I'll throw one more sleeper out there at the end, but I just see this being more of a three-headed back. Kind of exactly what Swifty was saying, right? I think Deontay Foreman, if he's got the hot hand, he could be the dude. Khalil Herbert, we know he's capable of breaking off plays. And I do think some third back is going to get a little bit of play. But I think it's going to be too much of an RBBC to really play either guy in fantasy or to feel good about playing them in fantasy. Because it could be one of those things where it's like, okay, you have Khalil Herbert in the lineup, and that's the week he only gets 8 touches and doesn't do much with them. So you take him out, and then the very next week, that's when Khalil Herbert gets the 16 touches and he's got the 2 touchdowns. That would be frustrating for me, so I'm avoiding it. If you're looking for, and this is now late round value, Chase Claypool, in my opinion. You talked about it at the top of the show about how he's been really impressive at camp. In my opinion, when DJ Moore gets the blanket coverage from defenses, I think Justin Fields is going to be looking to Chase Claypool first. To me, he's looked way more physical this year than he did last year. Like, he's really using his body to box dudes out. Fields has really looked his way, and not only looked his way, but like decisively looked his way in the red zone. Justin Fields has been feeding Chase Claypool in the red zone. They've come away with a lot of touchdowns. If he can stay healthy, I see him as a clear number 2 just right now, again, on August 17th. I see him as a clear number 2 and a guy who can maybe score some touchdowns for this team.
You know, and he's going at the end of fantasy drafts. You could probably get him with your last pick unless you're drafting with all Bears fans, then maybe not. But you can get him really late. And I love what you said about the running backs too. Unless you're in a best ball where you can draft both of them and it'll put whoever has the better week in there. It's going to be a headache because I think each guy, there's going to be weeks where Roschon Johnson even might have the best score, but it's going to most of the time they're going to go hot hand. Like Herbie will probably get a couple series. Deontay Foreman could get some series, and if Foreman is more successful, Eberflus and Getsy might just ride with him. It'll be tough to predict. That's always scary in fantasy.
We got a $2 super chat from Ghost of Judah tribe. Real Bears fans in here. Bear down. Monsters are back. Thank you, Ghost of Judah tribe. Thank you very much, man. There's another one from Retro here saying, back to you, Foster. Even Gacy has standards, so I want to get to that. Thank you, Retro.
Freaking Retro.
And I think this is the final question for you, Alex. Who's going to be the starting punt and kick returner game 1 versus the Packers?
Wow. Great question. At first, I was very confident it was going to be Velus Jones for both. That muffed punt, and then honestly letting a punt hit the ground before that, which you just can't do.
Yeah.
That complicates things. Now, Eberflus did explain it a little bit and said they were preparing for this punter just boom kicks, and then all of a sudden the kicks were coming up short, so Velus had to run farther. But still, I mean, it's not really an excuse, to be honest. As long as, in my opinion, the moment the ball hits the ground and the defender's right in front of him, there's just no way Velus should be trying to handle the ball. He knows that. Everybody knows that, right? I still think it might be Velus Jones week 1, especially if he tightens it up. If that is the one big mistake he makes over the next 2 weeks, and if he continues to tighten it up during practice, I think Velus is the guy. He's probably got one more mistake in him, though. If there's one more mistake, then I'm looking at Tyler Scott taking over. Dante Pettis, of course, as well. But Pettis, he's in that ramp up since he missed so much time on the NFI list. But Tyler Scott's gotten a lot of run with the punt returners. It's something he never did in college, interestingly. So we'll see how quickly they can get Tyler Scott up to speed. In practice, I think Velus has looked better as the punt returner. But again, practice doesn't mean anything if you keep making mistakes when the lights come on. Right. That's the ultimate X factor.
Very true.
So my hip check, my gut check right now is that it is still going to be Velus, but you got to imagine that leash is awfully short.
What if they just pull punt return duties from him and make him a wide receiver and a kick returner?
Then I think Velus Jones could be really effective. But they want him to be out there for punt returns.
Right?
They really want.
They need the multiple position versatility from him.
Right. Exactly. I think that's what makes him the absolutely most valuable to this team. I think they want him to be incredibly valuable to this team, right? They want him to succeed. They're going to give him many opportunities to succeed. We'll see. It might end up. We might be, again, next week we might be talking about Velus Jones only being a kick returner and a wide receiver.
Right. Or he'll return a punt for 60 yards and be like, well, he's got the job.
That's the thing. When he does have the ball in his hands in space, he's really good.
Yes.
It's the mental mistakes that are fear. It's frustrating. It's got to be very frustrating because you see the playmaking ability, you see the athleticism. It's just some of the mental errors.
Yeah. Understandable. I wouldn't want to field a punt in the NFL. I'd much rather field a kick than a punt.
Oh yeah,
I know that much.
You wouldn't want to field a punt in college. You wouldn't be able to do it.
I don't want to do it in high school. I just don't want to do it, period.
No, not even in high school.
Scary.
Kick return's fine. No punt.
I played ages ago, man. It's so long ago, Alex. We ran the T formation when I played. I'm not kidding you. That's what I ran for 3 seasons, dude.
Love it.
Punt returning was the hardest position that I ever played, and I played a bunch of them. That is the toughest job, man. That is tough.
And he played softball till he was like 40.
I do have one question.
That was last century, man.
Before you leave, I have one more question for you, Alex. What about bringing back the T formation, huh? Let's just say everything is gearing towards the passing game now, right? So we just stock up on running backs and just put 3 of them in the backfield. We can get blazing game with a couple of good running backs there. Let's say Roshan and Herbert. And let's just run the T formation again.
I love it. Hey, the Bears did it.
We'll
They brought back.
We'll even run 2 fullbacks.
What was it? 2020, whatever the 100th year of the Bears was. They came out.
His first season, his first play of his career
was the T formation.
Sorry, I just screwed that up. Are you on that, Walt? I can get to it.
What's that?
You're not allowed to say Nagy's name.
I'm not even going to get into that. I have zero thought.
But it was his first game.
Is that he who shall not be named?
Yeah, that's what happens when you say his name around here. It was the first play of his first season as coach. It was
he brought up
the Packers. It was the T formation. I was like, I love this. I didn't think it was going to stick, but somehow I had hope for it.
Do you want I want to see? No joke, and we do see it a little bit. The I form. I'm glad that the I form is back to a degree. Power football, because I do think there is a place in today's NFL for power football once again, as teams try to get speedier and smaller, right? Mm-hmm. The smaller guys who can run sideline to sideline real quick. I would not be surprised if there is a little shift back to that power football. We see the Titans do it with Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry pretty darn good at doing it. So I'm with it. Bring back the running back.
Yes, and to do that, you bring back the T formation.
Sure, yes, absolutely. I'm all for it. You have my vote.
Excellent. Alex, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much for taking out your time and your busy schedule. We would love to have you on again.
I'd love to come back. Thank you so much for having me. Shorty, PJ, Foster, Walt, Swift. It's been a pleasure meeting you as well. And the guys were out here before. When we did the other handoff, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. So, thanks again for having me.
Honor meeting you, Alex.
Definitely, as we get into the season, it'd be great to have you on again and talk some real football as the season is going on. We'd love that.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great.
Before you go, can I get a quick you down with BCP?
Don't do it. It's a trap.
No.
You down with BCP? Yeah, you know me?
Yes. I got to add it to the opener.
He went all the way.
Yeah. Love it. All right, guys, Alex, have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you.
The BS time is coming up next. Is that what I heard?
Shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Shoot the shit. All right. Well, you guys have a great time shooting the shit. It's been a pleasure once again. Thanks for having me. Be well, fellas.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Peace.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for coming on. And it's time for. I ran it. bringing shoot the shit back again. Sorry, Walt. I fucked that up. I didn't.
That's all right.
I gotta.
Yeah, you did. I didn't hear no music, man. It should have said, "Let's shoot the shit."
Let's shoot the shit.
There you go.
All right, let's talk about this Bears training camp then. What happened?
We've got.
Well, I
Steve
got to say
Zimmerman
2
in
things
the
before you
background.
say anything, Swifty. Because last week or 2 weeks ago, when I was talking about getting more offensive line depth, people were shooting my ass down. I said specifically a tackle on top of it.
Who was shooting you down?
And then I was going to tell Alex this, but I still think by the, I think I said 8th or 10th week, and I said this to you yesterday, Swifty, Roshan's going to be the 3-down back, and they'll trade one of those guys if they're not injured. Watch. I'm done with my rant for the day.
He's got faith in it. I mean, I like Roshan. You guys, I think everybody knows I like Roshan, but I think
I know you
people are, they're in the NFL. I mean, when you got a guy like Deontay Foreman or Khalil Herbert, you guys know how guys don't like to pay running backs. They got Khalil Herbert for 2 more years. They got Deontay Foreman for 1 year. They're going to give those guys carries. They're going to run the ball. I don't see anyone on this team being a 3-down back. I think all 3 of them are good enough to be a 3-down back, but that's just it. We got 3 of them. Why would you use just one when you can keep rotating them and keep them fresh? That's what the NFL is moving towards. I think that's what Getsy likes. And you have guys with certain skill sets. Who's the best at picking up the short yardage? Who's the best at pass blocking and catching the ball out of the backfield? There's a lot of different things that go into it. So I just don't see anyone taking the job and just locking it down all season. That's not going to happen.
I agree with you, but I'm stating this. It's going to depend on their record and injuries. And somebody's going to get hurt because it happens every year, man. I hope I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, running. And that's the thing. Running backs get hurt, too.
That's my whole basis of saying it. That's my whole basis for it, because it just
you
what
think
happens.
Herbert, you think Herbert and Foreman are going to be hurt? Is that what you're saying? He's going to be forced to be the 3-down starter?
I wouldn't be surprised if one of them guys got hurt, because it happens.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so the door opens, and then the other thing is
3-down guy.
The other thing is, wait, Swifty, what's their record in week 9 or 10? That's going to be a factor too in what I'm talking about. If it's a good record, then and they're both healthy, then you're absolutely right, man. He's going to get those spots when they put him in on whatever down it's going to be, because they still got Homer too, and Homer looked pretty good today, man. From the the 6 or 5 or 6 reps that I saw him. Zim, the raging freaking Bears fan, Steve Zimmerman. I think that's what I said about you last week, man, on a promo for this dude.
That's me.
That's you.
Where you find me on Twitter for sure,
Swifty?
Raging Bear fan.
You know Swifty? You guys know each other or no?
I know of Swifty. I've not met him.
Yeah,
I saw you on the show earlier. I think that was my first time seeing you. Nice to meet you too, brother. You said, what's your Twitter? The Raging Bear fan?
Raging Bear fan and Raging Sox fan, depending on which kind of content you want to follow.
Oh, so you got 2 of them. Okay.
I got 2 of them. I got one for Bears, one for Sox.
So you just rage on whichever team.
Yeah, man. It's all about just getting mad and letting off steam. Isn't that what Twitter's for? It's just a big angry
That's what
cesspool.
I use it for. I mean, yeah, everybody knows that. Yeah.
Just a raging cesspool.
That's what it is, man. That's Twitter in a nutshell. He killed that. Yeah.
I try to I really try not to rage on Twitter. I try to anytime somebody comes at me, I always try to diffuse them. And
when I joined Twitter, I thought that's what it was for, man. You just dunk on people. And then a couple years later now, and I realized I've met people, I talked to Greg Braggs in the DM a few weeks back, and I think Greg thought I was just this guy that was always mad and screaming. He's like, oh, you're not that mad. I was like, what? He's like, you're always screaming at people on Twitter. I was like, I'm not screaming. I do use caps occasionally, but I'm not really screaming.
I just followed you, Zim. Raging Bear fan.
Too.
I appreciate it. I'll be back in just a second.
Yep.
All right.
No sweat.
Yeah, I got to give him a follow too while we're doing that. I like Raging Bear fans.
Me too.
He's nuts, man. I've been watching. I wasn't even I follow the Sox, but I'm not like a big Sox fan. I am a Cubs fan, but I've always followed both the baseball teams because baseball was one of my loves. So I started watching these guys, and I just got hooked on the show and the insanity. And I'm talking about Vinny, Zim, and Joe. And they're really nice guys, man, on top of it. Go figure. And they do a heck of a show. They do a great show with the White Sox, especially all the crap they've been going through this year, man. I'm so disappointed in that team. But that's a different show for a Monday night.
What, the White Sox? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
just
hey, they just swept the
man.
Cubs, so I mean that's what everybody's hyped on now. But yeah,
no, they didn't. No, they
baseball's
didn't.
done, bro.
It's
over.
No, we got a 3-run homer in the ninth inning last night and won that game with the walk-off homer.
I remember.
They didn't lose it.
they celebrated like they won the World Series. It was kind of crazy.
Huge game.
I never been into the Sox and Cubs hate. I watched both of them as a kid. I remember Frank Thomas. I remember Sammy Sosa. I remember Ryan Sandberg. Like, I watched both of them as a kid growing up. I remember the calls, "Have no fear, one dog is here. Good guys win." So I mean, it goes both, and then Cubs win. You gotta love it both ways, but football's better. That's all that matters.
Well, it used to be a brutal thing in the 70s and early 80s, dude, with them too. I mean, I'd go to Comiskey and there'd be fights. There'd be fights between Cubs and Sox fans. I'm not kidding you, man. It was bad. And I never understood that because you root for your city, man. We all live here together. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We got New York and LA trying to fuck us at every corner, man.
That's
Sorry.
Save that
running off,
man.
Running off.
Cardinal
now I'm raging like Zim.
That's why they can't put another Chicago football team in the city.
Bring the Cardinals back.
Now, see, I don't know if I'd feel the same if they brought another football team. Like, I might be like, wait a minute, who are these? Nah, you know what? If they put them in the AFC and we never have to play them, like, it might be a second team. You know, when if Bears lose that week, you're like, all right, let's put on some. Call them the Cubs or something. And it's like, all right.
Well, you know the Cardinals from 1921 or something like that, maybe even 1920 to 1960 played at Comiskey. They were like the Sox. They were the South Side team in Chicago, and the Bears played at Wrigley. They were the North Side team, man. And it just depended on where you live. When I was a kid, man, I never saw White Sox stuff in my neighborhood. Very seldom. There was me and maybe 5 or 6 other guys. But like if people had stuff like that hanging on their house, it would get ripped off or ruined. It was just insane, man.
What neighborhood did you live in, Foster? No.
The northwest side of Chicago.
Gacy, that's right. You were living next door to Gacy.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah, Gacy's. Yeah. Right down the block, man. Damn.
I'm trying to find the video.
It's a good thing I was a little young there.
I'm trying to find the video that I made of all the clips you took for when you were at training camp today, Foster. So I can't find it. So now I'm waiting for it to re-download because I don't know what the hell happened to it.
Huh.
So that'll become retro.
Of the videos that you put on Twitter already? You mean that one?
No, I put it on the channel, but I want to replay it on here. It's about 3 minutes of joint practice, just from Foster's perspective.
It's almost everything that I got from yesterday, Swifty. I cut it because I had to send it.
I was like, that's definitely not everything.
No,
I recorded so much stuff.
I got it here. Hold on.
I used about 50%.
I left the sound in from you guys, so you got to hear the end of this, Swifty.
I know.
So this is Foster hanging out yesterday at joint training camp. Met up with Swifty there, and this is all of Foster's videos kind of put together. We kind of talk about it as it plays.
I hear him talking about his autofocus.
Yeah, my autofocus. It's almost funny just to listen to some of the people talk in the crowd too.
Yeah, I'm always just sitting there minding my business, and Foster's always talking to someone.
I got all the kids involved in it, man. Yesterday,
you're talking to the kids. You're like, my name's Foster. At one point here. But yeah, good stuff here, man. Just being able to see what's kind of going on in training camp. Nice seats too, by the way.
Bro, where it's at out there, like you see how it's surrounded by trees? Like, it's like the Field of Dreams out there. Like, there's just at least 15 fields and trees and nothing else. You can see the sunset. Like, it's gorgeous.
There we go.
It's phenomenal. Swifty, this morning I went around all of it because the Pacers practice facilities there. There's soccer fields, baseball fields. It's 5 times what we saw yesterday, Swifty. It's like 3 neighborhoods of just stuff for this. It was amazing, man.
Jay Grizz is saying that's
a video, and then I forgot to go back to it. But
he's saying that's some damn good videography, Foster.
Why, thank you. If I had something better than a cell phone, God knows, because I actually looked at it and went, I kind of did okay, man. I'm holding in my hand. I'm holding my cell phone in my hand, talking to people half the time I'm doing this. I kid you not. Ask Swifty, dude.
Bro, Foster.
We're in a restaurant, and I'm grabbing people out of the bathroom and saying, "You got to follow this guy."
Foster goes to the bathroom. I'm sitting there. I'm sipping on my Dr. Pepper. He comes out of the bathroom with another Bears fan. Just some guy walking to the exit. He walks all the way to the exit with him, talking about it. And I hear him as he goes by the table. This is Foster. Yeah, Swift Sports Network. You heard of that, right? He's winking at me. I'm like, he's like, yeah, and BCP, we got people like you who come on there. He's like, you want to come talk to us? You can talk to us. I'll remember you.
He's always sold out.
I was dying, man.
Hilarious. If a dude Zach hops on here and he says, "Hey, I met you at the restaurant in Indianapolis," that's the only guy it could be.
Walker back to pass.
Fucking Joe Mandel. Foster, serious question. How did Justin Fields' balls taste? You son of a gun, man.
Ooh.
Oh. There's a good point here. Somebody says to you, I hear in the background, they go, "Is this sold out every time?" And then the guy next to him goes,
Well, there's never. I mean, we don't practice with them every year, so like.
Oh wait,
like.
You got to listen to this part, Swifty. Here.
Okay.
Top. Walker back to pass. Pressure. He's running. He takes it. He's got out of bounds at about the penalty.
Oh, Leatherwood.
Ooh.
Okay, Dieter. Oh, look, Kramer just got pancake. I mean, did you see him though?
Kramer just got pancaked, and then Foster is just dying laughing. There, listen.
I think it's done now. I mean, Alex Shapiro said he loves pancakes, but the biggest one was Ryan. They asked Ryan Poles about it yesterday. He was on Hogan Johns, and they asked him. Hogan Johns asked Ryan Poles about Darnell Wright's pancakes, and he literally said it's one of the reasons he drafted him. I was like, oh, there's our fucking GM for you, boys.
Yeah,
put that in your pipe and smoke it like a man.
Let's listen again here.
Okay, Dieter. Oh, look, Kramer just got. Did you see him though? Pancake.
Kramer just got pancake.
I'm scared.
You want to hear?
Got to get any time at center.
Wait, I'm gonna pull the rest of that video up because literally the phone flips and I start cracking up, man. I'm like, and I don't know if you remember, Swifty. I told him, I said, dude, it just messed up the whole end of the film, man. That's why I had to cut it out because you weren't going to see anything else. Because I think you end up seeing my leg and shit after that when he said that. Because he was sitting like right in my ear when he said that. We're sitting on this bench, like in the second to the top row from the bottom at like the 40-yard line, and there's no place really to sit. And he's like right in my ear when he says it, and I just started cracking up, man. I'm lucky I got to finish the part of the film that I finished, man. Because as soon as he said pancake, I was losing it.
Crazy, man.
You're just dying laughing at the end of that. It was fucking hilarious.
I tell you, Swifty, I had such a fun day with you yesterday. I know we didn't like sit there all the time and stuff, but it was just awesome, man. I won't forget that. As long as the memories work.
We got to hang out again soon, brother. Yep. We got to do something.
I never got a picture with you, damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a video. I mean,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
I can send you that.
Send me that if you want, if it's okay.
I will.
Cool.
Foster reminiscing over there getting sad. He's like, we didn't take a picture, Swifty.
Right.
We'll see you again soon, Foster. We got to do some more stuff. Season's starting up. Don't worry, man.
Absolutely, man.
That's a good finish.
What's up, Raging Bear fan?
How's it going, guys? That is. I tell you what, I love the pancakes. I love them.
Yeah.
I love this guy now. See, another guy that loves pancakes. Who the fuck doesn't love pancakes? I mean,
I was so happy with Alex Shapiro's answer to that question because that's about what I said, man. I said, yeah, both kinds, man. I even love the syrup and the blueberries or some shit like that.
You got to put butter in.
It's somewhere. It's somewhere on Twitter or something. I put it somewhere, man. There was a comment. It might even be on that network. I might have wrote it. I don't even remember. But it's out there.
Pancakes
Some good footage.
You guys did hear that Fields isn't playing Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear if you guys heard that or not.
It's a good thing because I have tickets to.
He got a ton of reps today, Swifty.
Yeah.
The board had them scoring 12 touchdowns, the Bears today. 7-on-7 drills.
Yeah. Here's the weird thing, though, is like Fields, they say, and I'm on both sides of this. I'm honestly torn. So they say Fields is getting plenty of reps against the first team of Indianapolis defense, so that's why he's not playing. But at the same time, Pat Mahomes is playing a much worse team in the Cardinals. They've been practicing with them all week, and yet he's still expected to get at minimum 2 series next preseason game. And like, I agree with both passes. The problem, like, it's such a wait and see sort of process.
Yeah,
I get it, son. I get it, man. I was hoping they'd play him 15, 20 plays this game. Early
Honestly,
in the game, get the team on in. What?
I was hoping we'd see him into the second quarter, but
I just don't think I didn't see him doing that. I literally, because how many reps did he get last week? He didn't get shit in that game. But I was just literally, I was talking about it today with somebody, and they're like, oh, yeah, he should get more than that. They should play him the whole first quarter. I'm like, they're not going to do it. And then I get on here and I find out he's not even playing because I didn't know that till you guys mentioned it. So I was disappointed with that. But
oh yeah, you were.
I'm not the coach. I just think he needs more reps, more real game time in this offense. The more, the better, because he's only got so much time in it, and half of that shit last year he's running for his life. You can't call that playing in the system if you're running for your life every time.
I think part of the problem right now is how bad PJ Walker has played and the expectations. Yeah. I know there's not a lot of expectations placed on us, but this town is buzzing. Like, fans know we're hyped. You don't talk to too many fans that aren't hyped about this team right now. And if something happened to Fields in preseason, people would go fucking nuts. You guys know how Chicago people are. Like, why was he out there anyway? I mean, he does need reps. It's true. But at the same time, at this point, and he played so well this week in practice, like, give him the week off and then reevaluate it next week. Maybe they play him a quarter in Buffalo. Maybe they don't. Maybe they've seen enough that, hey, let's keep this guy on ice. Let's get him bubble wrapped until the preseason. But he's still out there taking practice. I mean, you saw he took hits in practice both the last 2 days. So, I mean, it's not like he's just not getting any kind of contact or anything. But injuries are freak things, and you don't want something stupid to happen right now.
I was worried that he got hurt yesterday, man. That when the dude took out his knee, remember that, Swifty?
Yeah, I watched the play a few times on slow-mo.
Because he came up gimping just for a second, man.
It looked like the helmet hit him in the shin. It wasn't the knee. It looked like when I slowed it down, it looked like it was a shin. So more of just like a stinger, probably.
Thank goodness, because I mean, from where we were sitting, man, it almost looked like his helmet hit it, dude.
Yeah, and that's where it can be scary. And that's what I'm saying. He might have saw that and just been like, you know what? Yeah, we don't need him on Saturday.
Right.
Especially with
it
PJ
was scary.
Probably 6 interceptions the last 2 days.
He had some good reps today, man. I didn't catch all of them because I was watching more of the defense because I thought I was going to be there when the offense switched, but it didn't work out the way I anticipated, like everything else.
Yeah.
Well,
I literally missed the best hour of practice, dude, today.
There
we go.
A ball gag in PJ's mouth? Is there? PJ, are you there?
Yeah, I mean,
She's soaking it in.
yeah.
He's just
Soaking it in, man.
He's just soaking it in tonight.
So he's soaking it in and he's waiting for the right moment because you know PJ, man.
Oh, he's sitting around
Exactly.
waiting for the right
He's
moment.
putting
to
together a
stick
20-part question in his head right now for me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just thinking about
Here we go.
these 7 tickets. Actually,
What, 7 tickets is he talking about?
man,
Man.
jeez.
You know what? Hey, you want to know what's real funny? I didn't even use that ticket, Swifty.
Oh, you didn't?
No, because I went and it wouldn't come up on my phone. So I ran into these other 2 guys from Chicago and we were standing there talking. He's like, here, I got 2 extra. Just take one of mine.
Oh,
And then about 5 minutes later, it came up on my phone, man.
That's so awful, man. Like poor PJ. Since the moment that dropped in the show, he was like, "Wait a minute. Are you saying that Justin Fields is not playing tomorrow? Playing this weekend?" And now, from that moment on, he's just been like this.
Well, dude, you should go talk to Poles. See if we'll put him in a few reps just for you. We know you got that connection.
Oh, is that what PJ wants Fields to play this week?
He's going to the game.
He's gonna.
Oh,
He's gonna
that's
be-
right. He's
remember?
gonna be there. Oh,
What other reason is there to go to Indianapolis?
He bought 7
exactly.
tickets for all the grandkids to go and watch nothing. You might as well go into the practice.
he's sitting Anthony Richardson. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And Javon Dexter. He's like, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
PJ
man.
sad. Dang. Should have been in practice with us, man. Dang it.
I agree. I should have went to practice.
Man.
Anthony Richardson's pretty slick, man.
Yeah,
He ran the
Richardson's
ball a
slick,
few
bro.
times today. He is going to be something. It might take a bit.
There was one pass in there you saw in the video you made. Looked like I like how he throws the ball. It looks like he could be something.
Dude, he's going to be something. It's
Poor
Big guy.
it's just
I feel so
well,
bad.
he's got all the tools. It's just a matter of getting the reps and learning the shit. I believe.
Yeah.
He made some slick shit today, man, on 2 plays. I lost him. I got it on film. I lost him, and then the next thing I know, he's 7 yards downfield up the left sideline. I'm going, what the fuck? He was in a pile.
We got to get
Sorry.
Fields to autograph some stuff for PJ's grandkids.
Oh man, no kidding. We gotta contact the Bears and be like, hey, this is unfair.
It's still going to be a good time. I mean, honestly, PJ, if he would have played, it would have only been a series or 2 anyway. So
Wow.
Well, he was thinking it was going to be the game that they played into the third quarter, like the third game of the 5 years ago.
yeah, I don't see
Peach,
that
I
happening this
hope.
year. No.
I hope, hey PJ, I hope they do the shit they've been doing with the defensive alignment the last 2 days, because it's not what we all expect. Remember them couple plays yesterday, Swifty? I think you were sitting there naming them. It's like, whoa, we got
We have Rasheem Green.
Yeah, we
at
had, like,
tackle
3
on the
pass
inside.
rushes.
Like, I mean,
right.
they moved DeMarcus Walker
it was
around
different.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Billings was out.
Yeah, I've never seen Rasheem Green in a D tackle like that. It was interesting look for sure. I thought if anybody's going to move inside, it'd be like DeMarcus Walker or maybe Travis Gibson. But seeing Rasheem in there was different. Like, I was just sitting there looking at the line. It was like D-Rob,
Yeah.
Billings,
Rasheem.
I think. Well, no, D-Rob, Billings, Rasheem, and then Travis. And I was just like, what? That's odd. It's an odd front, but it works.
See, no, there's another one in there. I got to go back and look at my video where it was Rasheen,
And T. Lewis,
Gibson,
Terrell Lewis.
Pickens, and I don't even remember. I don't know if you remember because I couldn't get the last guy's number, but it had to be
I think it
3
was
pass
T. Lewis,
rushers.
yeah.
We had 2. We had one on each end and one on the line.
There's a question from Bush Hog in chat here. I would like you to answer, Steve. How many ends do we keep? Who gets cut?
5. It's a lot, but I think they keep 5, especially if any of these guys can play inside and out.
Bro, he had that so ready.
I think about these things. I got some downtime during my days. I think they keep
Bush Hog is his other handle, dude.
I think they keep Ngakoue, Walker,
Raging and Bush Hog.
Robinson,
D-Rob, yep.
Ngakoue. So sorry, Ngakoue, Walker, Robinson, Rasheem Green.
And then
that last spot, I
Lewis.
think probably actually, I think Gibson could beat out Terrell Lewis.
Yeah, I think Gibson might be ahead of him right now.
The only reason I think
he
they
is.
picked one over the other is just because of homegrown talent versus the guy you brought in. I think that's kind of the edge there.
I personally think Rasheem Green could be in trouble, but with them moving him, and if he can play inside at tackle as well, it could increase his versatility there. But Gibson and Lewis, to me, have clearly both outplayed Rasheem Green, but Rasheem Green is still lining up ahead of them. He's coming out there with the ones when Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker aren't there. So I don't know. There's going to be a tough decision to make there. I haven't been super impressed with Rasheem Green, but there's going to be a tough cut there for sure. It's going to be hard.
I think once Walker is actually healthy, you'll see him moving to the inside a lot more over Green, and then Green can become expendable.
I would like that. Yeah. If you can find a way to keep Travis and Terrell Lewis.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I didn't know this. I found this out earlier today, actually. I was listening to an interview on something, and Terrell Lewis and Travis Gibson are good friends. Like, they're good buddies. Was it Alex Shapiro who said that? Was it that recently, or was it?
Yeah, that was Alex.
Okay. I wasn't sure. At first I thought it might have been Alex who said that, and then I was like, no, that was earlier today. And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, it was Alex. Okay. Yeah, but T. Lewis and Gibson are good buddies, and I like them both a lot. They're both good pass rushers. Travis is better against the run. T. Lewis isn't really a run stopper, but you need pass rushers like that. So I like him. Rasheem Green is just so far a guy who can stop the run, but doesn't do much as a pass rusher most of the time.
And I think that's why they were sticking him on the line, Shorty. I mean, to see Swifty, to see like you brought up, man. Give me options. Give me options, man. Versatility. Then I can work with it. But you got to show it.
I think Rasheem Green gets cut before Lewis gets cut. Personally,
I just don't see how they could. I don't see how in the world they could ever cut Gibson unless he fell apart Saturday.
Yeah, I think Gibson played so well. Like, it scared me. I think they were leaning towards like, hey, Terrell Lewis has made this team. Let's send Travis Gibson a message, and he responded. And Poles said it himself. He lit up. He was like, the depth charts are just kind of, they're there to just put guys in order of the way we give them reps. It's not really, it's how they play in the games. And Travis was awesome in the game. So it's tough because I really want Rasheem Green or Terrell Lewis to make the team. I really want T. Lewis. I love his potential, but if the team likes Rasheem Green as much as I fear they do, he might get cut. Yeah. And I would hate to see it, but I do think it's a possibility right now with how they're using Rasheem Green.
I think Lewis is more of a speed rush guy, and Travis is more of a contained guy. So they play actually different positions, kind of like Yannick. He's a speed guy, and Walker is the contained guy.
You nailed it on the head there with when they signed Yannick. Now you have two. He's a lot like Terrell Lewis, but better.
Right.
I mean, so you have a guy who's really good at getting after the quarterback, but can't really stop the run.
Right.
It could end up hurting Terrell Lewis's chances to stay around, but I'm really rooting for him. I love Terrell Lewis.
So much, man. I'm saying it since last.
Unfortunately for me, I think that means Rasheem Green would have to be the guy to go, and so nothing wrong, nothing against Rasheem, but I'm kind of rooting against him. Sorry, Rasheem.
I could just see guys. Wait till some of these free agents come available, man. I mean, the cuts.
Yeah, and that could make it even worse. Yeah.
Speaking of Bush Hogs, how many wide receivers do you think gets cut?
He's on the bubble.
Yeah, that's tough because they made the late decision to go out and re-sign him, right? EQ was signed early, Pettis was signed late, but I feel like they're both bubble guys. You know, it all depends on what they value. Tyler Scott's probably a lock being a draft pick. Velus Jones, as frustrated as everybody's been with them, you know, Ryan Poles has gone out of his way to point out that he's a gadget guy for them, that he's a Deebo Samuel kind of player. So you feel like he likes him enough to keep him. You know, the bottom five guys, I think it's pretty easy to say that they're either practice squad or gone. Darius Fountain has been on the practice squad before. Isaiah Ford's been on the practice squad before. Simba Webster's been in and out for the last 2 years. So, yeah, it's probably between Pettis and St. Brown. And that all, again, it depends on what they value. Pettis is more of the speedster, but with Scott and Jones there, that makes him a lot more expendable. EQ is more of a possession type receiver, so maybe they keep him as insurance for Chase Claypool.
I think
EQ was playing with the ones on the 7-on-7 today. He was the only non-starter on that, you know, besides the center, besides my guy
Green on offense. Like, none of us fans really like him, but he continues getting reps with the first and second team, and the coaches like him. He's a good blocker, and he must work and practice hard. I think they like having those guys who set the tone in practice. With wide receiver, just like Raging said, the first 4 or 5 there are set in stone. Like, we know the first 3 are. There's no doubt. But then Tyler Scott and Velus Jones are going to make the roster based simply on their speed and draft status. Like, they're going to make the roster this year. He's not going to cut bait that soon. So then it comes down to one more spot, and it's most likely Equanimous St. Brown. I think right now they're trying to find a punt returner, and if they're not comfortable with Velus, I'm not comfortable with Tyler Scott either. He's been muffing just as many punts, so that may lead you to take Pettis over ESB. I think that would be like the battle there. If you're like, well, Pettis and ESB, they're both – ESB's the better blocker, and sure, he's a harder practice guy, but Pettis can return punts. So
I think
we have to keep in mind the new practice squad rules too. Sorry, go ahead, PJ.
I think the fact that, you know, ESB actually gives you something that no one else gives you in the blocking. So, and then couple that with the fact that Claypool has been out as a big receiver. That's why you see in EQ in the starting reps because of that. I just think only thing Pettis is doing is replicating what Travis Scott, Velus Jones, and Darnell Mooney is at fast receiver. So therein lies an issue.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why ESB is the most likely favorite. It just comes down to, if you're Ryan Poles, if Velus muffs another punt or two, what are you going to do week 1? Because you need a punt returner. Someone has to. You're not going to send DJ Moore could definitely do it. I mean, that's the easy answer if you're playing Madden or something, but no way am I sticking DJ Moore out there on a punt return ever, unless it's
running backs.
None of them have caught punt returns before. So, I mean, you'd be doing the same thing. You're teaching a guy to catch punts, and it's so hard in the NFL to catch punts. It's a unique skill. It's not catching a kickoff. Any of those guys can catch kickoffs, like Khalil Herbert, Roshan, any of those guys can return kicks, but punts are so different.
What Eddie about Jackson was a very dynamic returner in college.
Yeah, Jack, but again, I'm not putting him back there. I mean, he's already got injury problems. But Eddie Jackson, there, if you just want a guy who can go out there and fair catch it, and you're not really looking for big returns, and you're just like, fuck it, we're just gonna fair catch it every time so we don't fumble the ball. It'd be a horrible decision probably, but you could put Eddie Jackson or DJ Moore out there.
Or even what about Stevenson? Did he do some punt returns?
I think he did a couple in college, but that's been a long. That was in where was he at before Miami?
Georgia.
Yeah.
Zim, can you elaborate more on the you started talking about the new roughing rules in practice.
Practice squad.
Or the practice squad rules or something.
Our practice squads, right. So this is the same as last year, but it's still fairly new, all things considered. So a lot of people don't know. It's no longer 10 players on your practice squad, which is what it was forever and ever and ever, right? And they had to have like games played restrictions or seasons accrued restrictions. That's not the case anymore, right? So you get 16 players on your practice squad now, and 6 of those guys have no limitations on experience whatsoever. That's where a guy like Dante Pettis and Simba Webster end up, right? That's how you end up keeping some of these receivers that you like, that you want to keep around, like just in case somebody goes down or something like that, a Claypool or a Velus Jones. That's where Dante Pettis really steps up. That's where he stepped up last year, is when Velus Jones wasn't getting the job done. Pettis was right there to pick it up. Well, you can do that in the same capacity this year without having to pass anybody through waivers or anything. Because Pettis was a late season addition, you can cut him without sending him through waivers at all and put him straight on the practice squad. So,
wow.
Yeah, the way this all works,
that's good to know.
It's really interesting the way this all shakes out. Pettis may have still been early enough that you do have to clear him through waivers. I'm not entirely sure where the cutoff on all that is, how it all works. But at any rate, if somebody else wanted Dante Pettis, they could have gone out there and signed him at any moment. Nobody's going to pick up a veteran wide receiver off of waivers if he even has to clear them, which I don't think he does. But at any rate, yeah, you can put these guys on the practice squad without any limitation on experience, at least 6 of them. And that's where they're going to stash some of these guys that they like, but maybe, don't like enough for the 53.
There's some questions coming from chat here too that I would like to get to. That kind of, there was one of them. Let me see.
Yes,
let's go to the Bush Hog one. I'll pull it up. There you go. Oh, sorry.
I saw it. Yeah, I think Travis Bell makes the roster. I saw Alex Shapiro, and I've seen a lot of people say they think he's going to be a practice squad guy. I think he has a chance. I think they can keep 5 defensive tackles, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
That would be 10 defensive linemen. It would probably too much. You don't see it happen very often.
But he was saying A. Brown over T. Bell.
That's the thing. They're not keeping Anthony Brown or Andrew Brown. They're not going to just keep. I don't think they keep 5 D tackles unless Travis Bell makes the roster. I think Poles really likes him. I think he showed that potential in the preseason game. If he keeps it up and he keeps flashing potential, I don't know if Poles are going to want to risk him on the practice squad, but it's tough. It's a numbers game. That's why I've been saying defensive line was such a weakness, and Ryan Poles has turned it into right now. There's going to be a tough cut at both positions, D tackle and defensive end. So it's kind of scary. There's going to be a couple guys that we like that aren't going to be Bears in a couple weeks.
I know it sucks. I'm worried about Travis Bell. That's kind of why
Travis Bell and Terrell Lewis are the 2 guys I'm most scared of right now, because I really like both of them. Like the offensive lineman, I like Dieter a little bit, but if he gets cut, I'm not going to be super sad about it. I'll be like, wish him luck. But T. Lewis and go ahead.
Who's going to be Zach Thomas this year off the practice squad? I don't mean a draft player, but I just saw him playing. Looked pretty good too. He was playing with the ones
that could be Travis Bell. I mean, if he gets cut, if Travis Bell gets cut, that's very possible someone picks him up. I think he has that kind of potential. He's not a guy. He didn't go to a big school, but he's one of those guys. When you see him on the field, he looks the part. Like he hustles.
Yes,
he has good movement. He looks aware, and he looks like one of those guys who's just gonna come out and give his all every single play. And those guys make it in the NFL. Those guys like Ian Scott, like an Ian Scott guy who never had the physical abilities, but he was a 3rd or 4th defensive tackle who had success for 10 years in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's who it was, Zim. Ian Scott, 95 that you was talking about.
Oh, yes. Did I bring up something you guys were talking about earlier? Oh, hey.
Yeah. Ian Scott. Yes, that's who it was.
Big defensive tackle on that lovely defense. Yes.
Yeah, Ian Scott, man. Him and Anthony Adams were those guys. I think Anthony Adams was one too. It kind of reminds me of Travis Bell too. The size they both are.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think Travis Bell has a step up on some of these guys. Just the fact that he was a draft pick. The problem is he was the 3rd defensive tackle drafted in the same draft for this team. So they're not going to keep 10 defensive linemen. Like, I think 9 is a cap, and that's even a lot for some teams.
Yep.
So the other thing that we have to keep in mind, though, is like, how many of these guys do pass through waivers every year? Like, they're going to end up probably on a practice squad. If they don't, like, somebody else has to keep them on their active roster. They don't just get to bring them into the practice squad. I mean, they can theoretically, but the guys are likely to stick with the team that they've been with for this entire off season as a chance to develop, as a chance to eventually earn that 53-man spot. Cliff Victoria reminds us in the chat about the IR, you know, somebody goes down with an injury, you know, somebody really, they just want to redshirt him for a year and they say, oh no, he hurt his toe, you know.
But don't you have to originally have him on your team, then put him on IR?
Yes, but he's on the roster now. That, like, over the next 2 weeks, if he gets hurt in preseason, then he could go to the IR, similar to what happened with Doug Kramer last year.
Right. So there's ways to sneak him on the roster, but like overall, you know, we always, and I'm just as guilty of it as everybody else. We always get so nervous about this cut down day and the waivers and everything. And then all the guys that we wanted there are actually just on the practice squad, except for like Jordan Lynch, but that was a whole different thing. Yeah. So.
Who was the other one? We lost one recently. Oh, Thomas Graham. Somebody took Thomas Graham Jr.
Yeah, he went to the Browns.
Yeah, he didn't do much, I don't think, but I like Thomas Graham. He was a guy.
He's fighting for a job. I think still in Cleveland. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It's tough now. Now our cornerback room is
Blackwell, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the IR is a good point, though. I mean, I know teams fudge it, but if a guy doesn't have any kind of injury, you can get severely fined for that and lose draft picks if you completely lie. But if he had some kind of injury that they could do it, I mean, hey, I'd love it. I'd love whatever could keep Travis Bell on the roster. He's a guy I really like right now.
I would love Travis Bell to make this roster.
I mean, if I was playing Madden, I'm probably cutting Justin Jones. I'm sorry, Justin Jones.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I like him a lot, but
that was my solution to it.
Justin Jones is a lot better than Travis Bell right now. I'll say that. I mean,
that's for sure.
I can't kid myself. He's a decent player, and I think he's underrated a bit. And I actually think he can have a good year. But
I think
last year was the first year in the
he's
system.
In the last year of his deal, and he most likely isn't going to be here long term. So that's where you're thinking, hey, maybe Travis Bell could be good in a couple of years. Would you break your finger to go on IR instead of being cut? I'd probably do it. I'd break my pinky.
You probably get away with having 10 defensive linemen. I think Lovey used to carry 10.
I know I said it, but yeah, I don't. Raging said it. I mean, it would be an extreme shock to me if we kept 10 defensive linemen.
Yeah. Then we might just keep Bell around too, just so Poles doesn't lose out on him like he lost Zachary Thomas last year.
I've heard Eberflus and Poles were talking about a little bit where they have some position versatility if they can find a linebacker or someone who can play all phases of special teams. And if Josh Blackwell and Dylan Cole can do that, and you can cut Travis Homer and Ebner and only keep 3 halfbacks, maybe in a crazy world he would keep an extra defensive lineman. But that's really going crazy and something you don't see often in the NFL. And usually if things happen like that, it only lasts for a few weeks and then another move is made, like someone goes to IR or someone gets cut.
Bushhog saying, did anyone see we signed a new linebacker? Who is that? Is that the McCall guy or is that somebody new?
Another one. I made a video on him. Let me think of his name.
Well, that was the Eagles' 3rd round pick, right? 4th round.
What was his name? I'm losing. Oh, Davion Taylor. 8.54 RAS score. Very raw coming out of Colorado, but really fast. He didn't play football in high school because his mom was really religious and wouldn't let him, but he still got a scholarship to Colorado, started for 2 seasons, put up some pretty good numbers, impressed enough to get drafted in the 3rd round by Ian Cunningham in his last year with the Eagles. So there's a little familiarity there, and it's another 3rd round pick linebacker we brought in. They're clearly trying to beef up the backup linebacker spot. they waived Buddy Johnson, the other guy they just brought in recently, with an injury, so he got hurt, obviously.
Nice.
I think you're going to see a lot of that, though, just because of the position they're in. And you know, Poles is always going to be looking up to upgrade every guy.
And once every team goes from 90 plus down to 53 in a day, there's going to be a lot of shit.
That could really help us, honestly. I think the giant cut down this year made Poles is like, look, there's going to be 300 some players. No one's coming after my 7th round rookie from Kennesaw State. And so maybe he can sneak him on the practice squad. It's just a guy that I remember Zach Thomas and other guys getting taken. And it's like, I don't want to lose Travis Bell, but Ryan Poles knows what he's doing, and they're going to find a good 53. And he likes Travis Bell. So if he does get cut, I think he's going to be one of the first guys that would get offered a practice squad spot, as long as no one else snatches him.
Didn't Poles state that he got a lot of phone calls after that Travis Bell pick, saying that was a great pick? Didn't Poles admit that into one of his interviews?
I think he said something along those lines.
About that,
but I remember him also talking about just how much he liked the player,
right?
And like he personally like bonded with him and said he loved the way he worked and his work ethic. But he still drafted 3 defensive tackles, like Rajan said. So and we brought in Billings. It's just going to be tough. The numbers crunch is going to be tough. This roster has way more depth than I remember any time in the last 10 years easily.
You know, I want to see get cut just so we can pick him up. Justin Ross out of Kansas City.
Oh, he's done, bro.
He's done.
Yeah, he just got hurt again.
Ooh.
I thought they were still optimistic about that.
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, it was the same thing I read about him last year. It was most doctors wouldn't even clear him to play. So like, I'm scared for the guy, dude. Like,
it wasn't a spinal issue though.
He broke his neck. Like, I mean, he's a guy who's just, I don't know. I'm scared. I think he's very talented, but I'm worried for that guy. Like, I saw the hit he took, and it was scary.
Recently or back in college?
Back in college.
Oh, because that's a disc degenerative problem. It's not. He didn't break his neck.
You didn't see? Wait, no. He took a hit in college.
He did, but
broke his
that's
neck.
That's stemming from another condition he already had.
Well, that makes it even worse.
Which is why no team drafted him. I mean, because they
no.
about his
That part I understand. He did get. I mean, I'm assuming Clemson wouldn't clear him if he had some sort of huge problem. So he definitely went through the
the reports I read last year from multiple people were saying that most team doctors wouldn't touch him. He had his spine like fused back together. I don't know the entire details. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about that, but everything I read was people were terrified of putting him on a football field, and not just of him getting hurt, but something that could actually put his life in danger. So when teams say stuff like that, it's something where he's saying, look, I want to play, and it's his choice, I guess, but most doctors aren't comfortable with it. Obviously, he's found some out there that will clear him and are comfortable with it, but most team doctors said they wouldn't touch it. So it's just scary. I probably wouldn't want him.
I mean, it's a what if. That question. This could happen, but it may not as well.
Yeah,
I would steer clear of that too.
It's just scary, man.
So, what position you guys think that the Bears will be looking at on cut day to acquire on our team?
Interior offensive line.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Even a left tackle, right? Like a backup left tackle, maybe. They might end up cutting Barroom in favor of someone better.
Barroom's looked pretty good to me. I could see swing tackle being addressed though if somebody falls, someone gets cut.
Barroom was playing left.
Yeah, he's played left and right. He's been rotating.
Oh, okay. In the game, it seemed like he played left mostly.
Yeah, he was at right yesterday. They were switching, but Aviante Collins looked awful at left, so it made me think that he's just Borum's ahead of Collins right now for sure.
Collins isn't making the team.
Yeah.
So how did Borum look on the right side in camp?
I thought he looked good. I thought Borum's looked a lot better than he did last year.
Good.
And I was worried. I wasn't very high on Borum coming into the year after what I saw from him last year at right tackle, but he's looked a lot better. I mean, I think he's gotten used to playing at this slim down weight a little bit, and his technique looked better. He still was getting beat by speed rushes, but yeah, Bushhog said it right there. PFF graded him out. I think it was like a 92 or something. Like he had a good game.
Good. That's really good to hear.
Hopefully he picks it up again this week. Maybe he'll get a start. They might hold the whole starting offensive line out. I want to see Darnell Wright play, though. That's one guy who needs to play.
How has he looked in camp?
Darnell's looked awesome. I mean, he's lost reps. I mean, he's a rookie. I mean, Terrell Lewis has beat him. Rasheem Green's beat him. Marcus Walker's beat him. Everybody's beat him, but he's looked really good. The thing I saw yesterday with Foster a lot was when he's out on a screen, defensive backs and linebackers don't want any part of him on the second level. Like, they would come up to him and just stop. Like, they wouldn't want to get blocked. They'd just be like, all right, I'm done. Like, they'd kind of cower a little bit. And it's like, oh, God, they don't want to get hit by Darnell. And I hadn't seen that too often. I seen a couple corners do it yesterday, and I was like, oh, okay. They just kind of gave up when Darnell got to him, and he would just kind of grab him and just kind of walk him to the sideline like, all right, let's go over here. And it's like, all right, he's real out. He gets out there really fast, and I think that's going to surprise people how quick he gets to the outside in the next level.
What about and Tevin?
Tevin looks amazing, man.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we love Tevin. Yeah,
good.
I got to be really close to him yesterday, and he looks huge. He looked bigger than Carter and Darnell Wright, and he looked bigger than all of them. And I was like, I thought Darnell would look a lot bigger than Tevin standing next to each other, but nah, Tevin kind of dwarfed him a little bit. I was like, damn, Tevin is just huge.
Aren't they about the same measurables?
Yeah,
no,
but Tevin is standing next to him. No, man, Tevin is huge.
Wow. When we were at the Dolphins game last year, we were like third row, and I just remember Cole Kmet was huge. Just seeing him in person on the field, he was just much bigger than he appears.
Cool.
It's cool when you get to see the players on the sideline and like gauge them to yourself. You're like, holy shit.
I remember like back in training camp, like 2000s, John Tate shook my hand and his hand was like bigger than my arm. And I was just like, oh my God.
Even like the punters are just huge individuals. It's insane.
Trenton Gill can dunk, bro.
Guys were out there. Mercedes Lewis walked up.
Oh yeah,
he
Mercedes
could play
is huge too. Yeah,
he could play tackle on either side of the line. So,
yeah, he's our swing tackle.
He could actually probably play swing tackle. Honestly,
he probably could. That dude is just ripped and huge.
I think I only seen him make one catch, but yeah, he's a physical presence. Like, he was walking next to Cole Kmet, and you just said how big Cole Kmet looks. No, He looked like Cole Kmet looked like he was hanging out with his older brother. It was like, hey, big bro.
Yep, absolutely, dude. I freaked when
28 years old.
When I saw him, dude, because we were what, 15, 20 feet behind Mercedes.
Oh, we're probably like 5 to 10 feet right there.
Okay, so whatever. When I saw him, dude, my jaw dropped because I'm like, all the years of watching the guy, and then to actually see him in person, he don't appear as big as he is in person as he did on all those years on TV, man. Not to me, anyways. I knew he was a big guy, but he is an offensive lineman who happens to catch the ball and can block too.
Yeah. He's my Darnell Washington. I got my Darnell Washington.
Washington, no.
Oh, my God.
No Darnell Washington, no more Chase Young.
We're still talking about Chase Young, Foster.
The Steelers drafted him, so I know I was right.
You used that
almost 3.5 hours of this show. We should probably wrap this up here soon.
You can't go nowhere. I still got another hour before I'm home. I'm kidding.
Foster's like, I need the company in my car. Wait, you're still driving?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to put the phone down. My elbow's killing me. I'll turn the light out and turn the tunes up.
Yeah, listen to some fucking. What are you gonna listen to?
Don't fall asleep, Foster.
I've got a Best of the Who CD I'm gonna play. I haven't listened to this shit in like 15, 20 years. Actually, I did. I heard a couple songs the other day when I met Swifty the first time.
Foster listening to CDs in his old car with a CD player in it.
Yo.
That's like the horse and buggy.
I looked down. I was doing like 95, man. I didn't even realize it. This thing's 25 years old.
I can't imagine how fast your feet are moving right now.
No, this one's got the dirt and the turret, dude. That's why the hood's been up.
You didn't go to camp
today? It's a little
today?
quicker than the Flintstone mobile. What, Peach?
Swifty, he didn't go to camp today?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we never
pissed them off. I tell him, get the fuck out of here. Go home and make some videos, dude, and call me when they're done. And then I watch both of them.
There you go.
Did you get more videos today, Foster, that you're gonna send?
Absolutely, dude.
Excellent.
Absolutely, and I almost even figured out what the hell I'm doing.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
That's a joke, man. We know that will never happen.
Oh fuck.
I scared. What did I scare you, Dan? Oh, hey, oh.
I was getting excited for a second. I thought you were pulling through. You were getting to the next level. You were leveling
get
up.
Your hopes up there, bro.
There's no levels left, dude. I'm at the end of the levels. If I just can stay level out instead of going down, then I'm good. That's for those who have not witnessed the true insanity. But I digress, man.
Jay Grizz
Thanks, guys.
Jay Grizz says Foster looks like a Steely Dan type of a guy.
I can confirm that he has an 8-track in his car. He definitely has an 8-track player in there, and one of those old school ashtrays that like pop down.
Yeah, and he's probably got 35 jammed into that fucking thing. He's gonna start his car on fire any second.
But it's cool because he's got the cassette adapter for the 8-track.
Yes, he's got this cassette adapter for the 8-track.
The cassette adapter to the 8-track with the aux cord plugged into it.
No, I got one of the real old ones. In the 70s, they used to put these mini record players in cars, dude.
Holy shit.
I shit you not.
The old 45s in the car.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Yep, look it up.
How long did that last?
Not long. That's why nobody else has heard about it.
Until the first time somebody scratched a record.
Man.
Yeah. I do got a car that has a cassette deck, and I still have about 500 cassettes. That's about 1,000 albums because back in the day, when they first came out with CDs, we'd grab 2 CDs and throw them on a 90-minute cassette, and you got 2 albums because everybody still had cassettes.
So if you had a mini by having a mini record player in your car, is that like admitting that you were a pimp?
Yes.
I never said I had one though. I never had one. I've seen them.
Wasn't that in a movie where a pimp had like a little mini record player on like built into the dash of his car?
Something. I don't know if it was a movie or a skit or something, but I think I've seen it too.
I remember something with that. Well, awesome, man. We should probably wrap this show up then.
Yeah, you guys are wild, man. You guys are wild. Foster, we love you. Short, hey, Raging, man, it was so nice to meet you, bro. Good dude. He knows his football. I can already tell.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, there we go. That's what I want. Good people meeting good people, you sons of guns.
And not meeting in bathrooms at restaurants either.
Dude, he asked me a question. I was literally taking a piss, and the guy's pissing next to me. He goes, "What did you think of the Bears?" So you asked me that. That's like his own fault.
Hey, what'd you think of the Bears, man?
Can't top the bag. What Foster doing?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. For reference, was he right next to you? The stall
was
next
he
to you?
looking like this?
Did he
just take the only thing in between us was the divider, dude?
Oh, so there was a divider. Okay, good.
Yeah. Crap, I just got on the Skyway.
Oh fuck, that's gonna cost you $27.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I don't have my iPass. That's the worst part.
Well, you have they know you have an iPad, so won't they just mail you they'll just put it on your iPad?
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm not worried about that, dude. I just hate the
I wanted to ask you guys, Zim. I was talking to you when in Slack when I was on the barroom about a Madden gaming thing, where we had and you were talking to me about that. What system do you have?
I mostly play on PC these days because modern consoles and PCs are expensive, and I can use one of them for work, but I cannot use the other ones for work. So,
if only you could work from a PS5, man, that'd be cool.
Right? Yeah. I bet there's a way to wire it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mostly play PC these days.
PS5, then.
I've got PS4, Xbox One, but it's a pain to hook them all up to the computer.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I have my PS5 hooked up through the Elgato. I know it is a pain.
Yeah.
Damn it! I have to get a PS5.
I got my Switch, I got my GameCube, and I got my 360 all hooked up through the Elgato. So you guys want to throw back with like some NCAA 14? We can do that. But
I'd love me some NCAA 14.
The good news is
Madden's cross-plat now, so we can actually play. Oh man, he's got it right there, bro. That looks like it's brand new too, bro. Like, you take good care of your cases. I like that. No.
Sometimes when my kids aren't getting a hold of them.
Okay, yeah.
If anybody in chat has a PS4, which I only have a measly PS4 still, would like to play Madden. I would like
Dan's
to do that. And then,
does anyone have a PS2 and want to play Madden with me?
Anybody have a Nintendo?
Does anyone here have a Game Boy Color? I'm looking to play a friendly game of Madden with somebody. Or
Atari.
Wait, I have an Atari. I have that. But the whole, you know what they need to do for Ataris? It's so simple. If you look at the circuit board, it's so simple. If you could just buy like an Atari rebuild kit for all the components and resistors and all the capacitors and everything that goes on that little single-sided circuit board. I make circuit boards for a living. It's easy enough. If you could just buy the package like online to rebuild your own Atari, because we have one, but it doesn't play video.
The real question is, does PJ have the Atari hooked up in his living room still? Yep, I knew it. I knew it. They have family night once a month. They're out there playing it
right now, guys.
He's like,
playing it right now,
kids.
He's like this.
This is what I played back in my day. Come get some of this Pong.
He's got the joystick going down here.
It's like the real question is, PJ, do you have the joysticks or the spinning controller?
Joysticks.
No. Joysticks. Yeah.
We went way back, man.
I got the Intellivision back in storage, but
Atari 6400. I'm trying to tell you, Brian Gilmore.
Atari 6400.
He's all
right, I'm gonna have to get a PlayStation 5. Damn it!
Just get an Xbox.
So you
am I the only person that owns that now?
Yeah, you can get if you want to go to the next gen, the easiest way, you can get it like a Series S for like 200 or 250.
Yeah.
I think the PS5s are on sale.
the biggest difference is it's a little lower res. It's only 1080 instead of 4K, and processing power is a little lower, so it doesn't load quite as quick. But aside from
the
that,
real
it's the
difference is the storage capacity, because there's none on there.
Yeah,
just buy WD Black, you're good.
Yeah. I got 5 of those in my PC.
I need another one, that's for sure.
Got SSDs everywhere.
Yep. They just pile up. My case isn't big enough for them anymore, though. I'm going to actually start transferring into larger.
I just got a new one. It's actually, I'm not on it right now. It's over there on the floor. It's you'd be the only one who might know if you've heard of the NV7 case from Fantex. It's like giant glass panel.
I think so. It's a Fantex case.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
He's typing
right now. I know the one you're talking about.
Like,
yep.
Oh yeah. It's beautiful.
It's got that seamless front edge on it, like the height cases. It's so nice.
It's so beautiful. I love it. We went off topic. I'm sorry, but you know,
I can talk about computers all day.
We love you guys. And Dan's typing Tech Mobile in chat. He's definitely out of touch here with Tecmo Bowl. I played it back in the day. It's been a while though.
I loved when Punch Out. I love when Nintendo came out when it was all the rage from Atari onto Nintendo, and then Mike Tyson's Punch Out came out. That was like one of my favorite games, man. I love that game.
Did you hear Mike Tyson say recently that he never beat himself in Punch Out? He could never get there.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
He said he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He tried for like 10 years.
Really?
I don't think he played it much, but
I was gonna say Mike Tyson doesn't strike me as much of a gamer.
yeah, it doesn't sound like it was. It's not like he was sitting there gaming 8 hours a day, but
Right.
he's like, no,
He might have had some other priorities.
You can literally watch someone on YouTube beat Mike Tyson within 10 minutes.
yeah, he would turn it on and
Do the whole
get
game.
punched out by the first guy and probably smash his controller and then have to wait 2 weeks for another one. And
When that one come in, bite off their ear.
yep, bit off a UPS man's ear because they didn't bring him his controller fast enough. It didn't work out when he tried to play.
I miss those days when Nintendo first came out.
This
Double
show's
dribble.
over, guys. We got to get out of here.
I
This
love
is
double
way
dribble
too far.
dragon.
Hey, we
All right,
talk about
guys.
everything in the show, bro.
Foster looks like he's. Are you there, Foster? All right, hang out with us. We can end the show.
As long as he's still alive, okay. I was worried about him over there.
Guys, we love you guys from chat. Everybody. Cliff Victoria, Doug Van Dorn, Dr. Earl, Retro, Brian, Jay Grizz. We can go on and on. This list goes up for 3 hours. My goodness.
Nice.
Love you guys. I wasn't reading chat though. If anybody said anything to me in there, like I haven't been looking at it. I'm just gonna be real. I read chat too much.
Leo
I've been
Factor. Yeah, no worries, man. We were trying to get to that. Andy G, that's my buddy from Colorado. Great to see you. There's so many. We have to go so far up here. We've been talking for so long. Guys, we really appreciate all of you for checking this out, man. Please make sure you spread the word. Subscribe if you haven't yet.
We had a Robbie show up. Yeah, Robbie come up.
Robbie came up?
Yeah.
Oh, Taurine Whitfield popped in. Great to see you
Torian's the
again.
man. Dude, I just saw yesterday. If Torian's still here, someone tell him. If you guys see him again. I was on some Bears channel the other day. It's a small channel. They don't get a lot of views. Some guys, I don't remember the name of it, or I'd shout them out. But they were giving away tickets to next week's Bills game, and I saw they commented a few hours back that Torian won the tickets. So I didn't see him say anything about it yet or comment back. So Torian, if you watch this, you won tickets, bro.
Man,
whatever channel you tried to win tickets on, you won them.
Mr. Mayhem.
You just better hope that Justin Field plays there for you.
PJ's so salty.
So mad.
I'm
really
gonna,
am.
PJ, I'm gonna be joking with you about this the rest of your life, bro.
I'm pissed, man. You just don't know. I'm pissed.
He was all hyped about practice. He's like, yeah, that's so good. And then
Man.
Luce comes up right after practice and is like, Justin Fields will not be playing Saturday. And PJ's like, oh!
Man.
They must have known you were coming, PJ.
I'm trying to tell you. Golly.
Bringing his whole family too, dang.
Oh, man. No kidding. Oh, jeez. Find your zen.
PJ.
Find your zen,
Woosah.
PJ. Go meditate and
Indeed.
I need to take some gummies to the game now. All right, I'm done.
Oh, sure. Cliff. Oh, man. Cliff's trying to get me in trouble. Shorty, any pics of that Bears podcaster I sent you? Cliff,
What are you
we'll talk
saying?
about that later. It's a female, and she's apparently like a 20. So I I'm married, dude. I don't need anything involved.
Isn't
with
Cliff
that.
married too? Cliff?
Well, that'll be a show for you guys. I'll let you guys run that one. I'll hang out and chat.
Cliff a smart guy.
I'm not coming on that show.
Oh man. All right, well, we love you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching us tonight in chat. Love you, appreciate you. We want to thank Alex Shapiro for joining us. We want to thank Vinnie Parisi and Joe Mandel and
Vinnie
of course
Parisi, Joe Mandel, and Zimmerman, the Raging Bears,
Zimmerman.
man.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, Zim. Swifty, as always, man. Appreciate you guys being here tonight.
Yep.
For
Keep your
anybody
head
who,
up, PJ. Keep your head up, man.
for anybody who hopped
This
in
is
late on the
Alex
show here,
Shapiro.
Brendan, make sure you go back and watch the opener of this show. If you hopped in late, you got to go back and make sure you watch the opener because it was pretty fucking funny.
I went back and watched. I missed it too somehow, and I went back
It
and
was
watched.
pretty good.
I did too. I didn't see it, man.
You're stupid bastard.
Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, set your notifications, and tell your friends that you're down with BCP. And let's end this on a 1, 2, 3.
Bears.
Bears.